Good morning, millennials.
Welcome back to The Toast. Happy 2025. Happy season 8. Welcome back. We are back after what felt like for me an extremely brief break, but for others apparently felt endless.
It did feel really long. It just feels so unfamiliar to be sitting here. Like I forgot my routine. I forgot the way that things go. But welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the new year. Welcome to 2025. Welcome to season 8.
I locked myself out of the apartment. I locked myself out of the apartment. Like that's how disoriented I was. I was like, making TikTok.
It's not your
fault. I forgot my
fault.
jewelry. Me and Ben are not struggling yet. I just forgot my jewelry because I'm so disoriented, like getting back into a routine workflow.
No, I'm also really nervous because this studio has seen a lot of people in the last 3 weeks, a lot of different setups. And so I'm hoping everything is Paige.
Just keep your eye on all your materials.
I'm keeping my eye on my materials for sure. And the last person in here was Ben.
And you know what's so good though? Like while that's obviously horrible, nobody wants to ever be in a place that Ben has last been in, be it a studio, a bathroom, whatever. Just know, like if things go wrong, which would be the worst thing ever, we have someone to blame.
Scapegoat.
But wait, you just reminded me of something.
It's not a scapegoat if he did that shit, right?
No.
It's just like accountability.
It's the offender. It's the offender. Fuck. You know, I'm having a lot of bad like memory stuff. What were you saying 2 seconds ago?
Welcome to 2025. Welcome to season 8. New year, new us. Same swirlies. Maybe we could hit that heart in the new year. Hit it, Carl.
Probably not.
Probably not.
At the end of last year, I tried really, really hard to line up our our winter break with like the new year and my new studio. Obviously, I'm still in the same old studio, but I signed a lease. So it'll be a couple of weeks. I know everyone's been waiting with bated breath to see what will she do. And don't worry, Turdy found a studio on her block. Like I can't deal like in my current state with like walking multiple blocks.
Also, you can't deal with the current state and the congestion pricing.
You know, I didn't know if I wanted to talk about the congestion tax today because
you don't want to start the new year off on a negative note, but the governor decided to.
Yeah, and it consumed my whole evening, and Ben actually turned to me. He's like, you are really stressing out. I kept like finding out facts about this new congestion tax in New York.
This is how it starts, Turdy. Local office, Mayor Turdy. I see it.
You know what? Like, I'm just now sort of waiting.
Take back our city.
I'm waiting for like the documentary, whatever it is. Like, I know that there's so much nefarious behavior going on at the MTA. The MTA is giving... And I was talking to Shannon about this morning because she spends a lot of time in London where the congestion tax...
it's giving? It's giving Tammany Hall.
What's that? I'm only familiar with Tamron Hall.
I'm only familiar with Tamara Judge.
And I'm only familiar with Aaron.
But Tammany Hall is actually like a big New York historical story of serious corruption in the New York government. Ever Boss Tweed and Tammany? You never heard of them?
No, but I'm telling you.
Boss Tweed?
Never in my life. I know Bo Dietl.
Boss Tweed does not pass muster. That's what you need to know.
So actually, I have to go to the doctor today, and I will be paying the congestion tax to go to the doctor. Isn't that crazy?
No, that's so crazy to go to the doctor.
Yeah. And like I've sort of decided to take this on as my platform, and I want to be clear because mostly everyone agrees with me, and it's nice to like, you know, not have a controversial take for once.
It's giving bipartisan.
And I just want to say, like, I come from a place of privilege. Like, when I take this like tax today, whether it's peak hours, off peak hours, like I will survive. Like I can take the hit financially. People who are commuting every single day, like actually can't. It's making a significant dent in their like salary, and it's not being covered by their jobs, whether they're traveling. Imagine traveling into the city to be a cop, to be a police officer, to be a fucking nurse or a doctor in a hospital, to be a teacher, to teach these kids, and you have to pay to go to work. Like, what is this?
So for people for people who don't live in the city, though, I just want to like explain what it is because I don't live in the city, and you explained to me what it is last night. Everyone's saying congestion tax. Like, what does that practically mean? How do you get charged? When do you get charged? Oh, and what do you get charged?
So all across New York, and they've been putting these cameras in for a couple of years, and they got sued. They spent $500 million putting in cameras.
Cool.
All across 60th Street. And 60th Street kind of like delineates like uptown versus downtown, you know, roughly. And now anytime you drive through the city and you cross 60th Street, you will get charged the congestion tax, and the camera will take a little picture of your Easy Pass, and if you don't have one, they'll send you a letter in the mail and charge you more because you don't have an Easy Pass, even though the Easy Pass is owned by the Port Authority of New York. Yeah, I was looking into I'm like, wow, they're hyping up Easy Pass. I wonder if it's a privately owned company. No, it's not. Like, they make money from Easy Pass, and then they make money when you don't.
Right. So now it's like it's law that you have to have Easy Pass or else you get charged more.
And by the way, to be clear, it is that way in most states. People were DMing me like in Atlanta, if you don't have a Peach Pass. I think it's that way in New Jersey, in Florida, in a Sun Pass. It's wrong. Like it's classist to exclude people, first of all. And it's ageist. Do you know how hard it was for me to set up my Easy Pass? And I'm so technologically savvy.
It's also Jaxist. I don't have a Sun Pass.
Well, you don't leave like your neighborhood, but fair.
Right. But like, so just because if I want to travel, if I want to go to Disney, I should pay more for the road?
No, when I think about like someone's grandmother trying to set up an Easy Pass, I want to cry. The website was it looked like Kindle, like black and white and so old school and slow. It was hard for me. And by the way, I set it up wrong the first time.
That's so wrong. Like we talk about the tax all day, but to be charged more because you don't have the Easy Pass, which you have to pay for and which you might not need other than this one time, that's insane. But go on.
So anytime you cross 60th Street, depending on the time of day and what type of vehicle you're in, if you're a truck, you get charged more. Regular citizens get charged $9. Motorcycles do not get charged, which I think is really crazy. And it's all in an attempt to decrease congestion, which is a platform I'm all for. The city, it's impossible to get around the city. There are so many like poor, what are those people called who like build cities? Like city planners? City planners, like whoever planned this city like is dumb. Like it's really, there's so many things that you drive around, it's enraging, right? Like the double parked cars, that's not
the people who built the city. The people who built the city are actually very smart. It's the little pedestrian squares in the middle of Times Center. By the way, Claudia, like you're at the point in your life, and it was my point too when I was pregnant, that you have to watch Ken Burns' New York. You have to.
Okay.
For what you're talking about. And you actually need to see how brilliantly the city was planned in order to really appreciate how downhill things have gone. It's time.
So it has been years since they actually installed those cameras and spent the $500 million, but there was so much pushback. Apparently like the Uber and Lyft lobbied for this. I don't know why they would want to charge their drivers more, but there was a lot of like legalities, and as of yesterday, it officially went into effect. Everybody's talking about it in New York because it's kind of crazy. It's an attempt to decrease congestion, which is obviously a good thing. But what it really is, upon my research last night, it is like a fundraising technique for the MTA. The MTA apparently needs like $10 billion to do what they need to do. That is, to clean the air and, repairs and fix everything. They say that ridership is down because of COVID.
Is there a budget for the crime? Wouldn't that go to the NYPD?
Right. So all of this is like a fundraising campaign. That's what this tax is for.
And then people also would encourage people to use the MTA because they don't want to pay the congestion.
Right. So to make it more expensive to drive. MTA. Yeah, to make it more expensive to drive, they're really trying to encourage people to use mass transit, which New York is such a mass transit city. The fact that they're experiencing such lulls in mass transit usage really speaks to how inefficient and unsafe the mass transit is. And it's just like the crazy timing of it all, because in the last month, there has been it's all over my TikTok. Everybody's talking about the crimes on the subway, people just getting stabbed, that woman who was burned alive. Like, it's so horrible. And it's now, I feel like it's having such a big topic of conversation because it's really, for years, the subway's been like a really unsafe place, mostly for women. And now it's happening to everyone. A man was pushed on the tracks and the whole thing was caught on video. A man was stabbed. I saw a picture of his like big bloody arm. So it's happening to everyone. So now everyone's paying attention. And the timing for the congestion tax is like, wow, so many people are now opting, who really can't afford it. They're opting not to take the subway. And you are implementing a tax that forces us back into these unsafe conditions.
Right.
So the timing is just so bad. Also, like,
they need $10 billion, but they spent $500 million on cameras. How much did Uber and Lyft campaign?
I don't know, but the budget. So then I started looking into the MTA. I'm like, the MTA needs money. It's like, okay, broke. Who knew?
And also like your taxes. Your story made me laugh. Like, get a job.
No, so then I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, well, who funds the MTA? I'm pretty sure it's like taxpayer dollars,
plus
right?
Plus the fares. Like, they charge you for it.
Oh, and by the way, so the MTA makes money from our taxes. They have federal funding.
Okay.
And you have to pay to get on a bus or a subway. And I know a lot of people like hop the turnstiles and stuff and that, like, it's claims to like make a huge deficit. One thing you're not going to catch me caring about is people hopping the turnstiles on the subway. Like, seriously, get a life.
No, if like too many people are hopping the turnstiles, that's making it unprofitable. Maybe fix that problem. Don't charge the people who are paying more.
Not only that, like, for a taxpayer to pay for this, like, the subway should be free. We're already paying for it. It's taxpayer funded. So the fact that like they have all these streams of revenue and they can't figure out how to operate at a positive. Jackie, their budget in 2024 was almost $20 billion. What is 10 more going to do? You obviously don't know how to manage a budget. That's your problem. Stop taxing us. Like, leave us alone. And also, when you really think about it, I was reading like so much like sort of like intellectual think pieces about this on Twitter last night. A congestion tax is really like a way of creating affluent zones.
Right.
Because it's a way to keep desirable neighborhoods, in this case, Manhattan, limited to people who live in outer boroughs. It's a way to keep really poor people out, and it's disgraceful and it's so wrong. And people keep comparing to London, right? They implemented it in London. It was like a really big deal. It was really controversial. But the main difference in London is that London and Europe in general, where they do this, they have like the most sophisticated public transit systems in the world. They are clean, they are safe, they are efficient, they are fast. Like, people love the tube, the tube, the tube. Like, everybody's taking the fucking tube. Okay, give us that. Maybe we wouldn't complain, like it wouldn't be a big deal. Also, they take a lot of other measures in Europe, especially London. Shannon was telling me about this. And I remember hearing about this, I think when I was in Rome a couple of years ago, I was like, that's so smart, because the roads are so tiny. I'm like, how do they get like big trucks in here? Like, how do they deliver to the Duane Reade and the pharmacy? And those big trucks that make huge deliveries are only allowed within like the city center certain hours of night. Like, right. I think it's like midnight to 6 a.m. They're only allowed to make their deliveries. And that's helped obviously decrease a lot of congestion, because in the city, like, there are 18-wheelers on every block. They double park. They take up multiple lanes. Like, it causes a lot of congestion, but you have to allow for it, because that's how restaurants get their food. That's how, stores get their stock. And so they're taking like a lot of measures in London, and it's still considered really controversial. And I don't think it has actually made a huge difference, except that it keeps people who can't afford to live in the city, it keeps them out. And that's wrong. Like, that's New York, melting pot. It's for everyone. Like, it's wrong.
No, on all counts, it's so wrong. I think it's something that everyone can unite around. And I guess on the opposite side, to easing congestion, that's what they're trying to do, would be a good thing. And also, I'm sure they also have like environmental concerns are in that column as well.
Yes. So it's all about clean air and helping, fix the air quality in New York, which is also something I'm super down for. But like, in terms of the list of priorities, like people making a living, going to and from work, like that, to me, like, to worry about just air quality is such a privilege. For that to be your only priority and be like the reason you do all this, you inconvenience millions of people. And like, I don't know, that's just like, that comes from like a really privileged point of view, I think, like to exclusively care about air quality and to inconvenience so many hardworking people for that. Like, in an ideal world, we would all have clean air everywhere all the time.
And also, how it should go is like, fix the subway, fix the MTA, and then try and push people to take it more. Because also, like, say they get their $10 billion, like, it's not going to get better. They always say, whenever this happens, it will be better. Like, and it only keeps getting worse. And the people who are in charge, who are making these rules, like, have proven themselves to be bad at their jobs.
And it's important to remember, it's a mayoral race.
Is it the mayor?
Election year.
I thought it was the governor.
It's both. It's really Kathy, the governor. She's like all about this. Kath, and she just like posted a picture of herself on the subway being like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This shit is safe. I'm like, okay, bitch, shut up. Like, literally shut up. So just elected officials, like, I know we're just coming off of a presidential one, so obviously it's a huge concern. But like local, state.
Also, like, the city is kind of its own entity. So
yeah, it's also just kind of like lawlessness out here. Like, it's really crazy. It's
a crazy place and a crazy time. But
having said that, I'm so fucking happy to be home. Like, let me tell you, New York, like, I'm always railing on New York. Like, it sucks. When I got home on Saturday, I was like, I literally felt like a girl in a movie, like, window down, I'm crossing the bridge, like, I see the skyline, and I'm like, home. I'm going home. Like,
you're that girl on Instagram that we were looking at her video, who makes those she pretends to be the girl in a movie, Delaney.
Yeah. We love Delaney. No, I'm literally girl in a movie in the back of a cab, like going to the big city. I love it. I wish I didn't love it here so much, because when I went on my rant last night about the congestion tax, everybody's like, Florida.
You need to run for local office.
Ben's dream is to run for local office in New York, specifically mayor. He's like actually asked me really seriously, like, over the course of the years, like, if he could run. And I said no. Like, in elections, they just destroy families. They dig up old dirt. Like, oh my God, could we have more, like, to hide if we could? Like, I'm just not interested in that sort of life. And he, like, gets mad at me every time we talk about it.
Well, the thing is, I feel like if he's serious, like, have him start as a local council person. Like, you don't just become mayor because you decide. So, like, do the work.
I don't know. It feels like everybody who's mayor just like decides one day to become mayor.
Yes, and they have like
Yeah, like Eric Adams comes from law enforcement. Yeah.
Know,
and Mike Bloomberg totally just decided to be mayor one day.
But he had a business track record. And then if you run the city like a business, hey, that's like a good angle.
By the way, look at the books for Spritz. They do well.
Now where did de Blasio come from? Where's that experience?
Literally, like he came from the sewer. Like, I don't know.
He's been like forgotten. And I just feel like that's wrong.
Us to Bill de Blasio. I want to forgive you and I want to forget you.
I know, but I just feel like for our peace, like you have to move on.
That's why like everybody hates on Eric Adams and he's definitely like super problematic, like one of our worst mayors yet. Having said that,
you don't know where we've been.
The best thing to happen to Eric Adams was coming into office after Bill de Blasio. Like there has never been a politician more disliked. I never met one person, like regardless of political affiliation. I've never met one person who thought he did a good job.
I've never seen one de Blasio bumper sticker.
Glowing review.
Yeah.
Yeah. And remember when he then tried to run for president? Like, tell me you don't have your finger on the pulse without telling me.
Oh, Turdy, 2025 is so political already.
I know. Also, major update in my life that I cannot wait to share with everyone. You might have noticed already. I have a new laugh. Now, I didn't know this was a pregnancy symptom. And while I was at your house, what was I doing the whole time? Laughing. We're hilarious. I was giggling. And I started to realize, I was like, oh my God, I have a new laugh. And I love it. And I was just like, oh, I must be maturing. I didn't know it was affiliated with pregnancy. And it wasn't until like a week with my new laugh that I just mentioned it to you. And you were like, yeah, that's like fully a pregnancy thing. And I have to say, I hope it doesn't go back. I hope my laugh never goes back. I was never in love with my laugh.
I think it does go back, but maybe like your muscles have remembered. Because I feel like my laugh changed when I was pregnant. And I feel like I have nodes of my pregnant laugh still.
Of the new laugh,
yeah. It was like deeper and heartier. And it's like, the thing is I couldn't breathe. So yeah, it was like, also I'm a little bit lost my voice. I have a raspy voice today, so I will sing Sticky Shoes later. So if my laugh is like deep and hearty today, enjoy it.
No, my new laugh reminds me so much. I don't know if you've noticed like whose laugh it sounds like.
You told me that it sounds like Olivia, but I wouldn't have noticed that otherwise, no.
No, it sounds just like our sister Olivia's laugh, and she had such a great laugh. Like I actually remember when I was on tour, at every show she would come to, I would be able to like hear her laugh in the crowd. It's a cackle. It's a cackle. And I think that my new laugh is like a true cackle, and it's a little bit more high pitched, and I love it. I cannot wait for you guys to hear it. You're going to love it.
That's so funny because mine was such a low register. I had a low laugh. Ho, ho, ho.
Very Santa Claus energy.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything else we need to catch up on before we dive in? The stories, by the way.
Things.
So for those just curious about the order of things, the stories are obviously not everything that happened like yesterday. The last couple of weeks, there are stories we haven't covered. On Patreon, we did do like a big update when Blake Lively filed the complaint against Justin Baldoni. And so that has been covered, but there's been a big update in the Baldoni story. Of course, the Golden Globes, Paige and Craig. So we're going to be covering the last couple of weeks of big stories that weren't covered on the Patreon.
Yeah, it's been like a week, even though time is just a contract, really, at this point. We did both watch the Golden Globes last night. Usually that'd be first story, but it's actually going to be third because like not everyone watched, and we need to talk about like Paige and Craig first and foremost.
And they're like, I don't even know how long today's episode is going to be. I'm going to say 2 hours.
Listen, I've got 128 gigs on the curd.
I'm totally fine. My doctor's appointment is until later. Like I literally have nowhere to be but this chair on my coccydynia pillow. Speaking of my coccydynia pillow, we need to talk about Secret Santa, which is something we've started to do within our family since last year. So it's like the second year. And last year, famously, Ben fucked up so badly when he got Margot Oshry and he bought her a cameo, which is just like the worst gift ever. And he actually bought her a cameo. He must have like gotten confused. He bought her a cameo from Frank Catania, and when it came on the TV, she had no idea who it was.
Like she doesn't watch Real Housewives of New Jersey, never has. And not only is it not like Teresa, I think she would recognize Teresa Giudice, but like someone's ex-husband. She had no idea who this man was who's talking to her, telling her how wonderful she is.
And like last year, it wasn't even last year, I would say like 18 months ago, Jackie went through like an obsession with Frank Catania. And by December of last year, like the obsession was over.
Yeah, even if he thought it
was for you, it was a bad gift anyway.
And I do love him. Even if he got it for me, like I wouldn't have been happy. Everyone else got like tangible, thoughtful gifts, like a cameo.
Course, custom mugs, like so sweet, Etsy vibes.
Right, so we do need to talk about this year who Ben got. I actually got Ben
Yeah, what you got him again?
He didn't open his gift and he left it at my house.
Oh my God, yeah, that's so rude.
It was hard because some people were traveling and some people were local. So I knew that like he might not take it home with him, which I didn't expect him to. So I was like, what's something that if he leaves here, I wouldn't mind having, but he can use while he's here. And it was like a little putting green.
Yep, so cute.
So cute, but now I'll just use it with the boys.
Yeah, no, it's a kid's toy now. And I think there was a lot of anticipation within the family, but also within the Toast community, because you guys died when we told you that Frank Catania story about like how Ben would make up for it this year, who was getting Ben. And I actually thought that Ben got me, and I was right, because he was being so serious about it. Like I remember last year, I kept having to remind him, I'm like, by the way, don't forget before we leave for Utah to get your Secret Santa. And he was just like so like relaxed about it. Like I didn't want him to forget. And honestly, I wish he had forgotten. That's how bad it was. So this year he was so taking it so seriously. I was like, I got to get my Secret Santa gift. He was like, I already got mine. I was like, oh shit. So then I realized, why would he be being so serious? I'm totally the person he got. And I was right. And he didn't want to like gossip about like who we thought other people had. And I was like, okay, that's lame of you. Like you totally have me. Now let me tell you what he got me. He got me a coccydynia pillow, which sucks. First of all, who wants to get like a medical device for Secret Santa, let alone a medical device I already have 3 of, one in the car, one in the makeup chair, and one that I'm sitting on right now. And he was like, well, this one's better. I did a lot of research. It's like the
Rolls Royce, he said.
Yeah, he said it's the Rolls Royce of coccydynia pillows. And I'm like, you couldn't have just gotten this for me like a couple of weeks ago when you, like, I could have used it. You've just been sitting on this?
Wait, what's worse? What's worse? The fact that he got you like such a lackluster gift, or like it's something that could have helped you and he didn't give it to you sooner?
Like a life-saving device. And honestly, I sat on it like it wasn't that great. I happen to really like my coccydynia pillows. Like I'm all set.
Even if it was like a life-saving device and coccydynia goes away when you sit on it, like that's not a Secret Santa present.
No, I feel like maybe Ben doesn't know what Secret Santa is. Like he's gotten it. Which year do you think he did worse? Last year?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, the first year will always be like an infamous story in the family.
Yeah.
And he will never live it down. And I'm surprised he like really dropped the ball so poorly again this year. I really hope like next, like we'll just try again next year. I don't know what else there is to say.
Yeah, and what I keep meaning to share, because I do think it's going to be a big part of my journey through life, is Olivia got me a butter churner. What's the brand? It's like very legit.
I don't know.
I feel like you told me it's
the
like
handheld. Everybody uses it. Yeah.
So it's that like mason jar with the handheld churner, and you can churn your own butter. So that's what I'll be doing in 2025.
And a matching butter dish. So Olivia basically said, "Get back in the kitchen, woman."
Yeah, she said, "You're not doing enough. Like we need more. Oh, this bread is good, but have you tried it with your own butter?"
Correct.
So my next year, I'll be suffering from probably arthritis from all of the churning.
Carpal tunnel over here.
I'll need a carpal tunnel pillow.
I actually think I did like the best job in the family.
Oh, who did you have?
Do you think so? Your husband?
What did you get? Oh, you did really good.
I think like it was the most thoughtful and like actually like you could applicable, like you can use it in your everyday life. Because it wasn't just like a novelty gift. We know your husband loves going to the movies. So I got
him season tickets.
A year-long movie pass to his local theater, which gives him 1 free ticket a month. It rolls over to the next month. So any month that he doesn't use it, he'll have like a cumulative. And you get 20% off companion tickets and concessions. Like that, I feel like once a month, like that's probably the frequency he goes to the movies, would you say?
I'm sure he would like to go to the movies at
now
that frequency.
He will.
Yeah.
And it's hard to give like, because it's technically a digital gift, it's a gift card. So then I had like a big poster board made, like a life-size check, but it was like a big movie ticket and it says like, here's your annual pass. And I just think it was like actually brilliant and thoughtful. And I hope he felt like really seen, you know?
If the ticket that he doesn't use rolls over into the next month and then he has 2 tickets that month, then can it be free for companion?
Okay, so I didn't read the bylaws.
You didn't read
I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is that it rolls over.
I'll call and ask. And then I actually thought Margot did the best, and she kind of always crushes.
Yeah.
She got Olivia, and she got her like a bunch of custom like cookware stuff from Etsy.
Mm-hmm. She's really good.
She is really good, and she had Zach
oven mitts with the kid's face on it.
And she did, and what else? Like tea towel. Other stuff. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. It just had like monogram, like Ship Hero. Like it was just like,
it was good cookware.
I don't remember, but I remember we were all like, wow, good job.
And last year she did that too. She got Zach, and she got him a mug, like a custom dad mug, and that hat, that olive hat, which he loves.
Secret Santa is so fun.
It is so fun. We had so much fun.
I hate that we have to wait like a whole year, but maybe that'll give Ben some time to think about his actions.
Maybe it would.
Maybe.
No, but like he thought about his actions all year. It's like, I think he needs it like a presentation. Like, what is Secret Santa? What is the goal here?
Yeah. Somebody needs to put together like a YouTube tutorial about what it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What else to discuss? By the way, I have so many notes for today's episode. So if you guys see me looking at my phone.
She's looking at her notes.
Because I wrote down some thoughts that I had at the Golden Globes, but mostly like my Blake Lively stuff. Because a lot of people are like ready for Claudia and Jackie to apologize. Like, can't wait to hear them explain this. And it's like, oh, did you not read the lawsuit? Like, literally, not only am I not apologizing, not backtracking, I'm even more.
You're doubling?
I'm doubling down. Like, everybody's like, oh my God, can you believe how much like his proof contradicted hers? Literally, not only did it not contradict, it actually supported a lot of her claims. Like, the willy-nilliness of like literally the internet is just like supporting in this case and specifically, but there are a lot of cases like this, like just the last person who talks. It's like, oh, she's right. Oh no, he's right. Like, you guys stand for fucking nothing, bitch. Like, at least I can like sleep well knowing, and I've never changed my stance, and be like, let's say everything Blake Lively said is a lie, and I don't believe that it is. Like, I will never regret, like, her accusations are so disgusting. Like, I will never regret believing her and taking her side.
Well, so for me, like, some of the things in his countersuit, like, tell his side of, like, the two sides of what happened, and some things it, like, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's how Justin sees it. But I just keep coming back to the birth scene. Like, him insisting him telling a woman who's given birth 4 times that women give birth naked. And by the way, that's the video that he made Blake watch that was considered the pornography. And so that's him countering, saying, we didn't show pornographic videos. It's my wife giving birth. It's beautiful. Yeah, no, that's
supporting her claim.
Yeah. But I'm like, okay, but the fact that you made her watch that to tell her how to give birth and then didn't have a closed set and wanted her to be naked, like,
no, here, by the way, we'll hear a lot of claims over the next couple of months, but things we need to constantly like buoy ourselves to.
Women don't give birth naked. Like, the birth scene, like, some do, some don't.
Second, the entire cast, especially most of the women, having unfollowed him during, not even during this like dramas, during the actual filming, nobody associating with him. And 3, Jenny Slate, Brendan Sklenar, all the people coming out supporting Blake Lively after her claims. Like,
isn't that the same as 2? Sort of?
No, because one is privately, like, they all like privately and while working together, like, decided not to fuck with him. So he's obviously being a freak. And then when it came time to like publicly take a stand, which is horrible, like, you're gonna get shit no matter what. A lot of the key figures in the film, Colleen, Jenny Slate, Brendan Sklenar, like, they stood with Blake. That means something to me.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
We'll get into it. There's a lot to discuss. And if your fake story didn't make the cut today, maybe worry. Tomorrow. But these were like the 5 that I didn't have to pick stories. They picked what themselves. I've been waiting to discuss. Yeah. So now I think, without further ado, here are the Fast 5 stories that you need to know.
And the Fast 5 stories that you need to know are brought to you by DraftKings. Playoffs. We're all talking about the playoffs. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. So if you're ready to place your first bet, try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. It's such a fun time of year. I feel like everyone's talking about the football playoffs, and it's just fun to get in on the action. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code TOAST, that's code TOAST, TOAST, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. That's dkng.co/audio. Today's episode is also brought to you by Armora Colostrum. So Armora Colostrum is a patent pending premium bovine colostrum. I feel like colostrum is very like potato. Colostrum. And I say it differently every time. I don't feel like particularly loyal to one pronunciation. So it's premium bovine colostrum concentrate that leverages proprietary cold chain biopatent pasteurization technology to preserve colostrum's over 400 bioactive nutrients in the purest, most bioavailable form. So colostrum is like the first thing you're given at birth as a human being, but also cows do it. It's like the most nutrient dense. It's kind of like a paste, would you say, at the time of
Yeah, it's the first form of breast milk, but it's much, much thicker and and less quantity.
So Armra is using bovine colostrum because it's so nutrient dense, it's so good for you. And if you're on the lookout for ways to strengthen your immunity, your gut health, improve your fitness, your metabolism, enhance your skin, your hair radiance, well, check out Armra colostrum. It's the best kept secret in the beauty industry for a while, and it's finally getting out for good reason. It's everywhere these days. It'll strengthen your immunity, it'll help fortify your gut health, ignite your metabolism, revitalize hair growth, enhance your skin radiance, fuel your performance and recovery. It's also just a great thing to add to your morning routine. It'll help you just really get your day started really well. And I think a lot of people initially go to Armra for the gut benefits because everybody's really trying to get like their gut in check, and then they stay for all the other fabulous benefits. And we've worked out a special offer for our audience to receive 15% off your first order. Try armra.com/toast or enter code TOAST to get 15% off your order. That's TRYARMRA.com/TOAST. Today's episode is brought to you by Quince, and I'm so excited. I have to tell you, Jackie, I totally forgot to tell you this story. So I had to go to an event, and I didn't have anything to wear, and I ran to a department store, and I got a dress, and it was like cute, but it was like expensive. And I get to the event, and there's a girl from my high school, I haven't seen it forever, and she's wearing literally the exact same, like they were so similar. And I was like, oh my God, love your dress. Where'd you get it? She's like, Quince. I'm like, you're kidding me. I was shocked. First of all, literally hers looked nicer than mine. It was just like a simple black dress, and it was like so, like hers just looked so much better, and she paid so much less than me, and it was like better quality. And that's just Quince. It was crazy to see like the Quince difference in real life. Like we were literally standing next to each other wearing such similar dresses. So even with the weather being really gross out, even those of us that embrace the chilly weather need something to break up the long winter nights, and something we love to treat ourselves to is Quince. So Quince, you can treat yourself to everyday luxuries at an affordable price, and something everyone needs in their closet is like a Quince iconic Mongolian cashmere sweater, which start at just $50, excuse me. So the difference between Quince and shopping on other websites is like you're getting really high quality items that are made well with, like I said, Mongolian cashmere. They have great linen pants, European silk, and they're made really well. They're made at like the same level as a lot of high-end designers, but they are able to charge you like 50 to 80% less. And how they do that is they partner directly with top factories, and then they cut the middleman out and pass the savings on to the customer. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. They use premium fabrics and finishes. So Jackie Goldschneider, seal of approval. Treat yourself this winter without the luxury price, and go to quince.com/toast for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/toast to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/toast. Oh, and also I was so obnoxious because the girl that I saw from my high school, I know she listens to the Toast. I was like, by the way, like, did you use code TOAST? And she was like, oh my God, I didn't even know you had a code. I'm like, you know about Quince, like not for me. She's not cool. Not cool.
She's paying the price. Literally.
Okay.
First story.
I'm so ready.
First story, Paige DeSorbo and Craig Conover has split after 3 years of dating. Paige announced on her podcast Giggly Squad on December 30th that she and Craig have, quote, decided to no longer be together. She said, it's weird. It's very weird. I wasn't expecting this. Obviously, when we first started dating, you don't think, oh, what will happen? Will we get married? Will we not? You're just kind of like in this relationship. She didn't reveal what caused the breakup, but hinted that there wasn't strife. She, went on and on about how he's such a good person. He was such a good boyfriend. Like, she has only wonderful things to say about him, but it just doesn't work out. And I think for people who have been following their relationship and watching both shows, especially this most recent episode of Southern Charm, weirdly, was very Craig and Paige heavy. Yeah. I think it's like pretty clear what has happened here. Everyone was like waiting for them to move in together and take the next step in their relationship. But like their lives are just in different places, and neither one of them can or wants to move and budge. And you can make the case for either one, why Craig needs to be in Charleston and why Paige needs to be in New York. And so without that, then you can't move forward. You can't get engaged if you don't live together, and you can't live together if you can't commit to one city. So I just feel like, they realize that, and also their timelines might not be exactly the same. And as he gets older, like that is probably something that he's thinking of.
Yeah, like he has made it abundantly clear that like getting married, having kids is something he wants to do like imminently. And I think he knew that Paige was the girl he wanted to do it with, and he loved her so much, and he was willing to wait for her to be ready. And I think she like appreciated that space she gave him. And then it got to a point where like either it was like kind of shit or get off the pot for Craig, or she had a realization that like this is not how she, wants to go out. This is not the life that she envisioned for herself. So when the news itself was so shocking. But if you've been paying attention, like it wasn't a perfect relationship for this one kind of big reason.
Yeah.
And it was this unsolved thing for so long. And I just thought, I'm like, they're going to figure it out. Like they'll figure it out. And actually they didn't. And Paige like spoke a lot about how like, making that decision at 32 and like the life that you thought you'd have for yourself with like marriage and kids, like the biological clock, the societal pressures, like she was sort of just like, fuck it. And I seriously am so upset. Like, I love these two.
No, I know. I'm so upset. And I feel like in the beginning, I was always like, well, Paige will move to Charleston. And like, whenever Paige is ready to do that, then they'll do that. But then like the last year or so, like Craig was spending so much more time in New York. And also on Watch What Happens Live, like people were asked, who do you think will move? And everyone was saying like, Craig is going to move to New York. So I'm like, okay, well, Craig is going to move to New York. And I guess he just can't. And he just opened a bar. I know he's like a partner in a bar now in Charleston. Obviously the show is in Charleston. Sewing Down South is based in Charleston. Like, he really can't move. So I think
up until this point, people assumed Paige would move because like her job and her life is very like, it's what we do. You could really do it from anywhere. Now, obviously being in New York, you're afforded so many opportunities. And I think she also just loves living in New York and she shouldn't have to give that up because she doesn't want to. But the assumption that she would move was just because like between their jobs, like she only has to be in New York technically for like 8 weeks in the summer. Technically.
Yeah, but she's also expressed that she wants to be close to her family. She cried on Summer House talking about the idea of leaving her mom, like just is so upsetting to her. But the reason why this is so shocking is because I feel like these are two people who like really, really not only love each other, but like each other. And like, I feel like the absence of one another from each other's lives, like I actually, not to sound like in denial,
delusional,
I can see them getting back together, just being like, life isn't worth it. Like whatever it is, they'll make it work. Because I feel like, how do you go from having like this best friend and like they liked each other? So a lot of couples like don't even like each other. They love each other, but they don't like each other. Like they really, like they talk all the time. Like they were together most days of the week. They really made it work. Like I feel like they're really going to miss each other. But that's
I hope so. That's a good perspective.
Right?
Now, the internet like quickly ran with rumors that like Paige cheated on him. They said she was spotted out on New Year's Eve celebrating with Marcello Hernandez from SNL. Like seriously, I don't believe any of it. Like Paige, say what you want about Paige, but she's actually like very like she like not all the time, but she's like she's a deep person, right? And you don't just like go from like a 3-year relationship to like out and people like are like there was no proof of any of it, no pictures, no nothing. People are so annoying. Like let the girl live. And really she's definitely like mourning this relationship. Now, not to make everything about me, but like I was kind of involved. Like actually not at all. Like not that's an overstatement. But over the Christmas break, I was getting tagged in a million TikToks. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And it was actually about Ben.
Yes.
So on the last episode of the year for Good Guys, I don't know what they were even talking about. I don't know why Ben brought up Craig, but Ben and Craig are really good friends. Craig is an investor, like an ambassador for Spritz. So he was talking about Paige and Craig. I don't know in what capacity, in what context. And he just referred to Craig as Paige's soon-to-be hubby. And everybody was like, they're engaged. Oh, BSC confirmed it. Claudia's totally going to kill Ben for spilling the secret. Like implying that Ben had some sort of insider knowledge from Craig about these two, proposing and getting engaged, and he accidentally spilled the beans. And not only was that not the case, but I guess they were literally broken up. And I did actually like film a TikTok being like, because I felt bad. Like I feel like Paige gets like for years, they're engaged, like all these like fake rumors about her. And it's probably so fucking annoying. And I felt really bad because Ben just talks weird. Ben just says stuff like, I can't explain it.
No, and like when my friend is dating someone for a long time, I call them their husband. Yeah.
Yeah. Ben just like talks weird.
Like I guess if I said to say it on the show with two people that people are really reading into, like I understand how people arrived at that conclusion, but also just know like it could also just be that there's nothing like leading in what he's saying.
There was nothing nefarious. Ben knew nothing. Ben just talks weird. Like he just is weird. I can't explain it in any other way. And oh my God, they ran with it.
To be hubby?
Yeah. Which literally sounds like two people got engaged. Like it's crazy.
Also, it takes more breaths to say that than it is to just say Paige's hubby or Paige's boyfriend.
Yeah, no. And when I asked him about it, he was like, what do you mean? Like, it's not weird. I'm like, he didn't even get it. I'm like, you're so annoying. And so I felt so bad. And I was like, it's probably the most annoying thing. This is like kind of plagued both Paige and Craig for years. And now this is like a legitimate thing people are reading into. And then it turns out they're literally broken up. I was shocked. And I didn't know they were broken up until I found out with everybody else. Like, I was shocked.
Yeah, me too.
I also like love that they release like an audio only December 30th. Nobody releases podcast episodes after Christmas. Like it's like kind of dead zone for media. There's no new episodes of anything. So I like that they kind of buried it. Like seriously, like it's probably hard. Of course not. But as much as they wanted, like could have. I think it was also a Friday.
Yeah, that was like Zach Bryan and the election. Like, you cannot bury this.
Some things are too big.
Right. Or maybe they thought that like by the time like the new year picks up, like today, like we would have moved on, but like we can't until we properly lay it to rest.
Still at the restaurant.
And I also feel like we will get to a place where we as people, of course they're already there probably, where we are like, this was sort of the best, like this is what needs to happen. They'll go on and do great things and hopefully find love and find joy. But until like there, like today, just saying like sad. And Southern Charm this week was so crazy because it was,
I know,
like it was a lot about like Craig changing, Austin being like, when we go to the bar, buddy, and like classic.
Like, yeah.
But then
Craig's
also,
like, I'm almost 40. That's why.
Craig froze his sperm. He talks about his relationship with Paige. And
freezing your sperm?
He froze his sperm because he had this fear of something happening to him where he could no longer have kids, like a car accident.
I feel like that's not like a concern for men. It's more so like there are men out here getting women pregnant. Robert De Niro.
Yes, it was more so like of a freak thing happening where he could no longer, so he froze.
Kind of like an intrusive thought.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, freeze it.
Pop off.
Literally. And he's talking about, you know, the timetable and how where he thought he'd be, but he fell in love with Paige and, you know, it just really, I feel like if you want to know why they broke up, like it's that, like they thought that they could surmount these really big things and they're kind of insurmountable.
Yes, but also, and I think like the sad truth here, and this is probably something they came to the realization to, is that while there are so many things that keep you tied to a city, at the end of the day, the person you marry should be bigger than all of that. Like, they should be more important. Like, my life is in New York, but if Ben said we're moving to Alaska, like, we're moving to Alaska. Like,
right.
And so if you can't even conceive giving all of that up for the person, then that's not your person. And that's probably like the saddest part of all of this. And they had to come to that realization. Because yes, I think it was understood that Paige would move, but like Craig wasn't out here offering. Like, so for both of them, like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't the other one.
And beyond that, like New York or Charleston are not even Alaska. Like you can do.
It's so true.
They really could do what they were doing.
And they've been managing to make this like bi-coastal, whatever you want to call it, relationship work. It's so easy to get to Charleston from New York and New York to Charleston. They could have lived in both places. They could have done it together. But the fact that they actively chose not to, I think speaks to why we're here.
But then it's like, and I've realized this recently about me and you, because we have such different ideas of like what our dream life looks like in terms of like a home.
Yep.
And like, what if there are two people who are like that? Like, if you and I were married, where would we live?
It's an amazing question.
Right?
Well, I'm like,
I'm
a steamroller. We would live where I want to live.
I know, but like, I would not be happy living in a city.
Yeah. No, it's so true.
So maybe they're just like a Jackson, a Claude when it comes to like how, like your idea, what a charmed life
there are other cities that are like hybrids of both. Like, I'm just saying, if that person is your person, like, you figure it out. Like, if Ben had such different ideas, like, we would move to Nashville. Like, we would figure it out.
We could agree on Nashville. That's what we would do.
That's the only thing. And if Nashville had a thriving Jewish community, like, we would all be living there today.
100%.
And don't come for me. I know there are Jews there. I'm just saying it's not like a thriving big community with lots of shuls and
lots of kosher meats and lots of
schools. Like, no.
Trust us, we've looked.
Yeah.
But then, okay, say we're moving to Nashville. Not to make Craig about us.
Craig and Paige.
Like, would you be happy in Franklin?
Yes. Oh my God. Would I be happy in Franklin? All the celebrities live there.
Okay. So
I just don't think we can afford what we want.
Maybe Paige and Craig needed to move to Franklin.
I think moving to Franklin would work solve a lot of problems for a lot of different people.
I agree. Save a lot of relationships.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I'm so upset, but I do understand.
I'm upset. I understand. However, I'm finding like the hope and the joy in thinking about like their futures separately. I think
Craig will be engaged in a year.
I know, like, everyone's saying that. This is a man
who really wants. And by the way, I think that if the roles were reversed and, you know, it was the woman who didn't want to give up or sacrifice, you know, marriage and children, like we would all empower that and agree and champion her. And I think that while the roles are like reverse, usually it's the other way. It's the woman who's worried about the clock.
It's the Scott Disick, it's Shep.
And I know like we're
Charleston.
Like I think both of their decisions like are brave and deserve like Paige choosing herself and like her career, like that's commendable. And Craig like not willing to budge on these like big things that really mattered to him. That's also so valid and so real. And like I champion that too.
Yes. Also, Craig is a few years older than Paige, and those few years are very critical in life and also in this situation because he's nearing 40 and he like wants to be. Yes, men can be dads whenever, but he wants to
40 is time.
A dad in this time. And Paige still has like a few years before she's there and feeling that way. Yeah. And I feel like 3 years was the max they could give it. You know, the longest they could stretch.
It's like shit or get off the pot.
That's exactly
sort of
what
energy.
It is. And it happens every day in relationships
all the time. In relationships, it does. It's really sad. It really is.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like right person, wrong time. However, I think what I'm coming to terms with is that it might not be right person. Like, because if it was, like, you're willing to move mountains to do anything.
Be together in any time, in any place.
In any place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, rip, pour one out for these two. Thanks for the memories.
They were pargy.
I also feel like Paige is like a little bit like eclipsing Bravo. Sometimes I like remember she's on Summer House. I'm like, why? Like she's I don't even know what to call her. She's a star. She's like a socialite now.
Yeah.
Her podcast is super popular, but she's like a huge fashion girly. She's a very successful influencer. Like she's just kind of like a Carrie Bradshaw of our time. And I don't know, I feel like when she goes to BravoCon, I'm like, girl, I'm sorry for you. Like, it was a great stepping stone for her to get here, but I do feel like she's kind of outgrown it, especially that particular show. Like, what are you doing with Kyle? Like,
let's see what happens this season. I do agree with you. I'm like, if she didn't go back on Summer House, like her life would not change whatsoever. In fact, her summers would be freed up. She could go to Europe.
You know, she needs to be like a Vogue contributor. Like, seriously, I just think there's endless potential for her. She's so beautiful. She's so funny. Like she actually has that personality that most girls who are that pretty sort of like rest on their laurels. They don't have to be so dazzling.
Right.
She really is just like diamond of the season.
Yes, I agree. For other Bravo stars, BravoCon is like the biggest thing in their year. Like for her to drag.
It's literally like something she probably dreads. And by the way, I don't know any of this to be true. It's just like how I perceive it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just think she's kind of like too good for it. Like when you think of her accolades, like reality star is like 5th on the list, and it's like it just doesn't feel like anymore like thank you for giving us Paige, but like you have to let her go now, Bravo.
Yeah, set her free.
Yeah.
No, it's very true. But anyways, like excited to see what she does next, especially as like now she's focused on Paige. She's not going to Charleston every other week.
Who she dates, like she's so pretty.
Of
like
course,
let's
but
say.
like
obviously I don't want to go there. Obviously,
but like right, it's still too raw for both of like.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see.
I just feel like we can't talk that way, like, yet. I feel like we can't.
Yeah, no, we can't. It's so disrespectful and rude.
Yeah. Are you ready for our next story?
Speaking
of disrespectful and rude, Justin Baldoni is filing a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times over the Blake Lively story. So while we were off, if you're a Patreon, you're all caught up. But while we were off, Blake Lively filed a lawsuit against Justin, Wayfarer Studios, PR, and New York Times. They had the exclusive. They wrote up.
It's like him and 9 other complaints. He's like suing on behalf of Melissa Nathan, the publicist, Jennifer Abel, the publicist. It's a bunch of people who were named in the original complaint that was published in the New York Times. They're all suing together. So I guess that means they're like splitting the bill for the lawyers.
Yes, and they are suing the New York Times. They wrote a 4,000 word piece titled "We Can Bury Anyone," and it showed how Justin and his team buried Blake and everything that happened this summer. So Turdy and I, of course, felt so vindicated. You have to read everything that's in there before we get into all of this, but I feel like everyone is caught up. So that's where we were at.
And if you were looking for our thoughts on just the Blake Lively up until that point, we did a whole podcast episode about it on Patreon over the winter break because there was so much to dive into, so many like really abhorrent allegations. And I thought her complaint really colored in the timeline of events in a chronological sense with that, like the SAG-AFTRA break. So, the internet sort of swung back completely once Blake filed her complaint because how could you not? And so many celebrities were speaking out. And then like a couple of days later, maybe like a week later, Justin Baldoni filed this lawsuit and now everyone has swung back.
Yes. Also, Justin was dropped by WME, which was his agency and also Blake's agency. But beyond that, what other retribution did you see?
His podcast host left the podcast, which by the way, we need to add that to the list of things buoying us. That we need to buoy to.
No. I can't hang anything on this person who left his podcast, who podcasted with him for so many years and championed him as a male feminist. And then the minute like things went south for him, she left. Like, so were you lying that whole time, or you didn't know who your podcast host was, or you're just you're going with the tides? Like, I need clarification. That was where we left the Patreon too. Like, okay, unscrupled.
But that's also
is that not your boy?
For me, that's a big pillar in this story. Of things.
I wouldn't be surprised if she comes back to the show now. Like, this girl
and we're back with Justin. I'm back on the pod. So it literally was really wild to see public opinion completely shift. I think a lot of people begrudgingly supported Blake Lively when she released her complaint, because how could you not? The things she was alleging were really so fucking disgusting. And this was a person everyone was so quick and easy and happy to destroy a couple of months ago. And the fact that they sort of had to take her side a couple of weeks ago, I think was hard for a lot of people. They're just jealous. Like, she's this perfect, skinny blonde, rich, married to Ryan Reynolds. Like, she's easy to hate. And she's obviously doesn't seem like the best, most kind, like compassionate, amazing personality.
What she said to then the flaw of it all.
Yeah, no, she definitely is like kind of a wench for sure. Not a crime, but obviously not the type of person you'd like choose to hang out with and champion. So it was really, I think, hard for people to have to take her side. And then Justin Baldoni came out with this lawsuit, and people were so happy to sort of cling on to it, to be back on Team Justin. And basically the overwhelming consensus is like everyone's back on Team Justin now, because so much of what he shared, and he has his own text messages, his own proof, and so much of that completely contradicts what Blake is saying in her complaint, according to people on the internet. And I'm here to say, like, my thesis of today, that could not be further from the truth. I have read a lot of the, his is a lawsuit, hers is a complaint.
Yeah.
And by the way, a lot of people are like, well, if Blake was really the victim, she would have sued. Well, the thing is, and I saw a lawyer explain this, because people don't know anything. So you're just like making stuff up. Like, why didn't Blake sue? Well, buddy, you know the law. Blake is suing in like because he's her employer. It's like an employment lawsuit. And in order to do that, you have to get approved to sue. And in order to get approved to sue, you have to file a complaint. The court has 60 days to approve or deny you the right to sue. So that's what she's doing. That's why she didn't sue. That's why she has a complaint. It's step one in her lawsuit. And then he sued. So everyone's like, look, he can sue. So he's right. Actually, she was taking the proper legal steps.
Also, he's filing a lawsuit against the New York Times over the story that they wrote, because they say that story does not have the whole story. Mm-hmm. So he's rebutting a couple of those like heinous accusations that we stated, and this is just inside. So the accusation that he repeatedly entered her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including while she was breastfeeding. He said that she pumped a lot, breastfed in meetings, and he invited her into her trailer when she was pumping in the past. So any like visibility that he had into her breastfeeding and pumping, that was what was happening.
And the screenshot that's sort of taken the internet by storm is a text message from Blake to Justin, basically saying they needed to meet about something. She was like, hey, I'm pumping in my trailer. Come on in.
Yeah, I'm pumping in my trailer. If you want to work out our lines. He responded, copy, eating with crew, and we'll head that way.
So everybody says that this screenshot completely contradicts what Blake said. Blake said that he was entering when she was breastfeeding and pumping. And look, here's literally proof that she invited him in. So to be clear, because I understand the English language, this in no way screenshot contradicts what Blake said. First of all, just because you've been invited in one time does not give you unfettered access to my breasts and my trailer, first of all. Second of all, the difference between pumping and breastfeeding, and I have never done either, but even I know, like, breastfeeding, your titties out. Pumping, you put the things on your nipples and you could go for a walk. Like, you could do anything. So they're so different. So inviting someone in while you're pumping is not the same.
Breastfeeding in a public place, like say she was breastfeeding in a meeting, so it's like, oh, she had her titty out. Like, you can make it.
You're consenting.
No, but also whether or not she had her boob out, like you can know you're breastfeeding in public and do it in a way that's covered up. But when you're breastfeeding in private, like you don't care that you're out.
Tits out.
Someone walking in on you breastfeeding in private is not going to look the same as you knowingly doing it in public.
No, it's so true. I feel like a lot of women with like newborn babies who travel, they breastfeed on airplanes, and there's like you put that little thing over. Like it's you can breastfeed in public.
People breastfeed in public all the time, and more often than not, the way you breastfeed in public looks different than private.
Of course. And just because you've been invited in one time to see while she was pumping does not give you unfettered access. Like, you are still a coworker, B, a male coworker, and C, her boss. Like, everybody being like, oh, look, Blake's a liar. Like, are you thick in the head? No, actually, this does not contradict at all. And I don't care how open. Let's say Blake was one of those women who didn't give a fuck. Tits out, nipples out. You still, as the director, as the boss, as her coworker, and as a man, you still have to act with the utmost knock 5 times. I want you to knock 5 times. You still have to act. I don't care how Blake, and I don't even think Blake was that type of breastfeeder, but even if she was, like, you still have to act with some sort of decorum.
Yeah, so all in all, the lawsuit states that it was Blake who allegedly embarked on a strategic and manipulative smear campaign using false sexual harassment allegations to assert unilateral control over every aspect of the production. The lawsuit also accuses her husband, Ryan Reynolds, of allegedly berating Justin during a heated meeting at their Tribeca penthouse in New York, in which he accused the director of fat shaming his wife. So basically what he's saying is that, like, there was this...
And by the way, before this lawsuit or anything, when there was like a little bit of whispers about Blake and Ryan, one of the first things that came out was Justin inquiring a lot about Blake's weight. That was like the first thing we had heard. So I believe this.
Yes. And I think what Justin would say to that, he had like a back thing. And so
he says he was only inquiring because he has like a hernia and he has to lift Blake and kiss her. So he needs to know exactly how much this woman weighs. And you know what? If you have to ask, you can't lift her. So why don't you just say, I am not strong enough, and let's cut that scene. You're the director.
Right. We didn't need a lift. This isn't Dirty Dancing.
No, seriously.
Like, if your job requires you to ask a woman what she weighs, like, unless you're the doctor, you're in the long, like, that's just not what we're going to do, especially given the context. She just had a baby, and like, you cast her for this role. You see her, you see what it entails. You're not blind. Fucking director. You cast her. Not it's not like she's got like lead in her feet, weight that you can't see. Like, use your eyes.
Oh my God, funny. Funny. That's funny. Yeah, lead shoes. She should have. That would have been funny. Okay. For me, the biggest part of this story, and so many people, like, this is their big thing about with the lawsuit, is that, like, really he has disproven everything when it comes to the intimacy coordinator. And so I'm going to read from my notes. I watched an amazing video from like an intimacy coordinator expert. I just want to shout her out because I'm like about to literally copy everything she said. It's like a nice long 10-minute video. Her name is Brenna Perez. Okay. So Blake has said that there wasn't an intimacy coordinator present. She said that in interviews, and I think she alleges it in her complaint as well. And Justin, shows proof. Like, what are you talking about? We had an intimacy coordinator. But if you actually, so that looks like a contradiction, right? Blake's lying. But if you actually read, Justin actually corroborates a lot of what Blake is saying. So after the SAG-AFTRA break, Blake had demanded that there be an intimacy coordinator on set at all times. Usually an intimacy coordinator just shows up on the days where we're fucking, They don't need to be around all the time. But because Justin had like this obsession with adding in kisses and adding in sex scenes that weren't previously agreed to, Blake said, listen, if you're going to do that, like, I want an intimacy coordinator on set every single day, because who knows when you're going to start kissing me. And she's totally valid in that. And what I didn't realize that this girl explained in the video was, like, when you sign on to a project, every intimate scene, literally every kiss, but mostly like the sexy scenes, are agreed upon contractually before. So if you do want to add, sometimes it happens, it complicates things, but it has to be agreed upon. But it's like, you can't just go around like adding in an ass grab, It's not improv. Like, these things, because of SAG and they have these rules in place, are to protect actors and actresses. So you can't just go around adding stuff. So the fact that Blake alleges that Justin really wanted to add stuff, like, complicates things a lot. So him saying that there was a coordinator on set is, not untrue, but it's half true, because if you're kissing her on days when the lady's not there, who does that help?
Right.
So after the SAG-AFTRA break, they had agreed to have the coordinator on set full time. So Justin is like, she was there full time. What are you talking about? And he shares a text message. Not only was she there, but I actually tried to coordinate a meeting between her and Blake said no. So you read the text messages, and they're coming off the break. So I think they're about to be back. And he says, by the way, I found an amazing coordinator. So first of all, it's a coordinator who he found. Yeah. I'd love to set up a meeting off set, like, not while they're on set. Like, I'd love to set up a meeting. And Blake's like, no, I'm good. I'll meet her when we're back on set first day. So look, Blake's being difficult. I don't know that she necessarily wanted to meet your coordinator. Like, how do we know she's legit? After this SAG-AFTRA break, where this list of 30 things we agreed on, you've been showing me pornographic videos, your producing partner is a freak, all these things, like, you add kissing scenes. I don't know that I want to meet off set with you and your intimacy coordinator. So it's like, look, Blake's being difficult to work with. But then also the really interesting thing is Justin alleges in his lawsuit that he wasn't adding all these sexy scenes. It was the intimacy coordinator's idea. Ooh. Now, that is not the job of an intimacy coordinator. That's like actually really weird. So if that's true,
more work for her.
No, but let's say that's true.
More hours.
you hired a freaky ass intimacy coordinator because that's not her job. Why the fuck would Blake want to meet this person?
Right.
And let's say it's not true. You're the one adding those things and you're a freak. But now we understand why Blake said no to meeting with this intimacy coordinator. So she's putting forth all these sexy ideas that you didn't agree to, and that's not your job. It's not your job to meet with the intimacy coordinator offset. Like, you come up to work, you're not the director, like you are an actor, you show up and do your job. So much of what he said, especially about the intimacy coordinator, actually validates Blake's complaint. I don't know what people are talking about, like dead ass.
Yeah. Also, then the situation, so there's all these like things that happened, disputes, but then there's also this larger thing of like, there were two different cuts of the movie. Blake like made her own movie. And like, I just think that the disputes, like they go so like they could go back and forth all day. And also like Blake's alleging like sexual harassment. I think Justin is saying like those things weren't sexual harassment. And then like people are like, aren't you the male feminist? Like, how are you going to tell a woman like what sexual, like it's so messy. It is so messy.
There are a lot of things in the complaint that don't personally interest me. Like, it's a lot of he said, she.
No, I know.
No, but I'm saying it's a lot of he said, she said. It's not illegal to have two different cuts of a movie. Like, did that make Blake look difficult? No. Sure. But like, when it comes down to like the actual allegations, that interests me more than like, well, Blake said I had my cut and Justin said I had my cut. I don't give a fuck.
No, I know it doesn't interest us, but like they are germane to the whole story. So I'm just saying like the whole story is so much bigger. And then in this complaint, Justin is saying that Blake was going to, you know, come out with these sexual harassment allegations. That's why he hired that PR firm that then grassroots did all that. Now he looks bad for doing that, but you know, he's like, well, she was going to do it to me. So it's like him or her.
You did the thing first.
Right.
Like you being afraid of retribution for something you actually did. Like that's called crime and punishment. Okay.
Right.
No. I have not changed my side even in the slightest.
No, me neither. But now
seeing the pendulum swing
back to like the original, I feel like it's just like when people are choosing sides, like they're choosing a difference of like the two personalities. Some people just like want Justin Baldoni to be this like male hero that they think
and they think he's hot,
and they like see all this shit that he says and does, and they're like, oh, I love. And like for me, that's just like not for me.
That's not how I see Justin Baldoni. His like charms have not worked on me.
Right. So I think these are like two people who were not going to get along, who were in like a really crazy environment where they're having to like do all these things. They're both have their own things that they're worried about. Him and his back, her and her breastfeeding. Mm-hmm. And it's a recipe for fucking disaster. And it doesn't change how I see the situation, because what they did to her with all the media campaign
and
offset, like,
yeah, I don't know. I will, like, if let's say, you know, the truth comes out and Blake concoct, I will never really, I won't look back and regret having believed her. Like what first of all, there is a lot of proof that supports her claims. There are a lot of people who support her claims, and her claims are really disturbing. Not only like the astroturfing, which is now something we all know about and should be really conscious of.
Which, by the way, I'm glad that we know that. I'm glad to know that.
And he's not denying that, by the way, which is even crazier. But the fact that all of the things between the birthing scene and the adding sexual scenes and being really inappropriate from this so-called male feminist, like, I don't know, I'm sorry, I believe Blake, I really do. And yeah, she's probably a bitch. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Right. Like, doesn't mean that you had to, like, she's an A-list actress. Like, you wanted the biggest name in romantic comedy.
Diva.
That's what you got.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And by the way,
this is not the time to talk about,
for ruining our favorite fucking book, because now this book is ruined. The movie is ruined. I never saw the movie, and I'm never going to, because how could I even watch the movie?
Like, what are we doing with the sequel?
Where there is no sequel. It's over. Yeah. You guys ruined it. Let's see if Colin Hoover ever gets another movie in her life. What a mess. And the thing is, like, sometimes things are like dramatic and like, don't worry, darling, where it like helps the hype of the movie, but like nobody wants to touch this. Apparently, like, even at the Golden Globes, it should have been nominated for Best Blockbuster,
box office and cinematic achievement,
and they should have been there. And I think Blake and Ryan were going to go to the Golden Globes and then didn't. Like, this thing is so messy. And Nikki Glaser said she wouldn't even joke about it because nobody even knows like what is true, who's the villain. Like, it's just a mess. You guys ruined the fun for everyone. We were so excited about this movie. We've been talking about it for years, and this is where we ended up. And I think as far as ruining the movie, like, I blame him. He was the director. He was the star. He casted it.
Up until this point, I stand by everything I've said. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. I really don't think I'm wrong. I'm not changing my opinion because I don't want to have said, I admit I was wrong all the time. Remember when I thought Travis Kelce was never even going to get close to Taylor Swift? Like, I can admit when I'm wrong. I am even more certain that Justin Baldoni is a bad faith actor.
And this, like, now the two suits for me kind of like knock each other out. And I go back to how I felt, not entirely, but I'm just like back to how I felt in the summer where it's like, I'm with her.
Everything she said in her complaint really genuinely shook me to my core, like as a woman.
Yeah.
And everything in his complaint, whiny little bitch, you're not denying the AstroTurfing. You're not denying that meeting you had during the SAG-AFTRA strike, coming to terms and agreeing on 30 things you're going to stop doing. You actually admitted that in your suit. You admitted to not having an intimacy coordinator on set all the time, which you should have if you're adding in sex scenes. So you admitted in that he's literally admitting guilt. I don't know what the hell people are reading. Like, I'm sad. Like, I will be here. My opinion has not changed. And if your opinion has, like, you obviously haven't read it, or B, you didn't really want to believe Blake before, and now you have a reason not to.
I feel like for people, like, his lawsuit counters her lawsuit and kind of explains every charge that they felt like they needed to be mad about. So then they also go back to how they were feeling this summer, and they're with him.
Yeah, but if you actually read it, it does not contradict hers at all. If anything, it supports a lot of her claims and corroborates her timeline.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I'm sad.
So, our next story, Golden Globes.
I have so many Golden Globes thoughts.
I know.
And it's brought to you by Good Ranchers. As we welcome the new year, it's time to focus on what matters most: creating healthier habits, enjoying more moments with family, and spending less money on going out to eat. GoodRanchers.com is here to help you turn those resolutions into solutions. By shopping with Good Ranchers, you're supporting local farms across the United States, and you're avoiding the chaos of grocery store imports. More importantly, you're going to enjoy stress-free, delicious meals that let you focus on what matters most: quality time with your loved ones. And during their New Year, New Meat special, you can subscribe to any box of their 100% American meat and wild-caught seafood. Using our exclusive code TOAST, you're going to get $25 off, free express shipping, and your choice of free ground beef, chicken, or salmon in every order for an entire year. So start 2025 with better choices, better meals, and better moments at home. GoodRanchers.com is always like really incentivizing people. I feel like they give some of the best discounts, the best deals. This is the best one yet. Code TOAST is going to get you $25 off, which is fabulous, free express shipping, and this is like the biggest one: your choice of free ground beef, chicken, or salmon in every order for an entire year. GoodRanchers.com. I feel like I just finished Yellowstone. I watched the finale. Like, it's so important to support U.S.-made cattle ranchers, or like Rip said, we're going to be getting all of our meat from Brazil. No, it's important to support local farms, local ranchers. It's good for you. It's better for you. And it's really just fabulous. There's no antibiotics, no hormones, no seed oils. Because it's local, you can trust the American process. And it's steakhouse quality. The meat really tastes better, and you will not want to go back. So save time and money. All the cuts are pre-trimmed and pre-portioned, which makes really easy to prep. They're all individually packaged and vacuum sealed, so you have less waste and you never have to throw freezer-burned cuts away again. Thank you, Good Ranchers. Today's episode is also brought to you by Caraway. Perfect. You'll get your meat and then you cook it on the Caraway. Caraway cookware is everything. They have really encouraged me, especially at this phase of my life, to like invest in my kitchen. I'm ordering in so much less because like I love cleaning up is easy, especially with like my husband, who seriously could burn anything if he tried. And Caraway just makes it so easy to have, you know, their surface is ceramic, slide off the pan, eggs, really easy. It's also non-toxic. So if you're a clean swirly like Jackie, their products are designed with your health in mind. Their ceramic cookware is free of toxic materials, including PFAs, PFOA, PTFE, lead, cadmium, and other harmful chemicals for guilt-free cooking. For me, it's easy cooking and cleaning. So the super slick nonstick pans require less oil or butter, and they're going to give you minimal scrubbing for a spotless clean. It's also eco-friendly. So when produced, their home goods release less CO2 into the environment compared to traditional nonstick coatings. Their cookware, their bakeware, their kitchen appliances, their knives, I have everything. Their cutting boards, fabulous. It's a brand now. Like when I just need something for my kitchen, I'm getting Caraway. I love their food storage too. So their internet famous cookware set comes with the saute pan, the fry pan, the Dutch oven, and the saucepan, plus lids for all of them, a canvas lid holder, and a magnetic pan rack for storage. It's really the ultimate kitchen setup, and it'll save you $150 versus buying the items individually. Plus, when you visit carawayhome.com/toast, you can take an additional 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/thetoast or use code THETOAST at checkout. Caraway, it's non-toxic cookware, and it's made, how is it made? Oh yeah, that's right. Modern.
Okay, last night, Golden Globes. We've got the winners. We've got the moments. Let's get into it. You want to start with winners and then we'll shoot off from there?
No, let's start with Nikki Glaser.
Love that.
So I think we all knew she was going to crush. If you've been following Nikki Glazer's career, like she hasn't like become enormous for lack of talent. It's really been lack of opportunity. But anytime she gets hired for something, like she fucking crushes it. And I think a lot of people saw that with the Tom Brady roast. And that's largely why she got this gig. It's the first time a woman has ever hosted solo. So there was a lot of pressure. The fact that like there's so many successful female comedians, but we're rotating the Jimmies. Like how has a woman never done? Oh, but the one time they gave it to a woman, they had to give it 3 women. Amy Schumer, remember she did it with 2 other women?
By the way, I'd be fine if they rotated the Jimmies and it was good. You know, and it was great. Yeah. And it was great. But it's not been. And so it was Nikki Glazer's turn.
And I think there was even more eyes because of the Joe Coy of it all last year, like which really was floppy O.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And that was the same thing. I remember saying how disappointing it was. Like 1, because it just wasn't funny. But 2, because like this is a comedian who's not huge, right? So this is a global platform. Like it would have been such an amazing opportunity if he had crushed it. And it sucks that he didn't. It sucks for him.
And it kind of hurts people who aren't the biggest comedians to ever do it again. They're not going to take a chance on someone.
And they did, even though Nikki Glazer's like not really taking a chance. She's the biggest female comedian right now.
No, but
that pales in comparison to like Kevin Hart.
Right.
So to see her absolutely crush, like the thing is I would have liked it regardless because I happen to really like her. She's been on the show. Yeah. She's incredibly nice.
You might have been biased in your review. However, this is not biased.
No, and like I really only have positive things to say about Nikki Glazer, like having met her in person, and she's been so nice to me. Like anytime I've been in a room with her, she's been like the most famous person in the room, like a lot of other female comics, and she's always the nicest one. Like I can't say enough good things about her. And then she came on our show like right after the Tom Brady roast. Like she could have canceled because like she was having this moment. She was on, you know, every show in America, and she came on the toast. Like I fucking love her. So I would have loved it regardless. But let me tell you, I laughed.
She crushed.
Oh, did I laugh? Ben was dying. The Sandler Chalamet thing was his favorite. We were laughing so hard.
And by the way, I need to thank her for that. We got so much Kylie because she gave us so much Timothy. And I thought that bit with Adam Sandler and Timothy was just like funny. It's like we're not making fun of everyone. Like it's just a funny moment. People really struggle between like being so soft and not saying anything. And then also you could go like, you know, I'm going to rip into everyone in this room, which is going to kill. And if you're funny about it, but like to find the medium where it's like, we're going to talk about everything and also be funny while not like being nasty. She was so good, but also talking about certain elephants in the room, roasting the celebrities at large. I loved when she said like, we could be living through history. Like we could be watching these clips in 5 days being like, they got the guy.
It's so true. And I think that was her greatest skill, was the way she towed the line of, you know, we're mocking these people. And not, I would say there's literally only one person who can successfully do like a full roast, and that's Ricky Gervais.
Right.
And then you go too soft and you're not funny. So I think her balance of like, you know, pointing out like a lot of the hypocrisy in the room, these like fancy artists, storytellers, like people like, it was so brilliant while also like being funny. Like it was just, the thing is, I don't care what you do. If you make me laugh, that's literally all I care about. She was brilliant. There were so many jokes that were so funny. 2-time Holocaust survivor Adrian Brody, like actually killed me. Like so funny and like, yeah, a little edgy, but not offensive.
No, not at all. Her saying Benny Blanco was here because of the genie who granted him that wish. Like so funny.
So funny. Like she was so well rehearsed. And I heard her, she was being interviewed by Zuri Hall, and she was like, I practiced the monologue, I counted 96 times. And she's like, I know people are gonna be like, well, it's scripted. She's like, no, I just wanna be comfortable enough that like I can riff and also not be like reading straight from the teleprompter. Hello, welcome to the Golden Globes. And I felt that. I felt her sense of comfort. Like she knew what the joke was gonna be. And then you saw her like not looking at the teleprompter, riffing on her own joke. Like she was brilliant. Like she made me so, like she made me laugh so hard. I fucking loved it.
No, and you could also tell she was so comfortable. She like didn't care if the people in the room were going to find her funny, which I think I don't even know if they did because I wasn't paying attention to them either. Like it was like she knew she was talking, like working for us, the viewer. Like she was joking for us. You know, she wasn't like Joe Coy, like you gonna laugh or tough crowd. Yes. Like she was literally ignoring everyone in the room, which is the most important room in her field, and just really catering to the viewers at home. And you could tell she felt really comfortable. She felt like so cool. Like it was like cool girl comedy.
Relaxed. No, by the way, that's an amazing point because the job is hard because you're obviously performing stand-up in a room full of like 1,000 people, but it's like those 1,000 people literally do not matter. It's the people at home. And Joe Coy's big fault was like him making jokes and it didn't get huge laughs in the room. So if you were doing that in a comedy club, you'd be like, what's wrong with you guys? And he was doing it and it's like, no, stop. Like that's not the point.
Right. While also it's like in this moment, the 1,000 people in the room don't matter. You're playing to us. But those people matter for your career. So like you have to toe that line too of not pissing them off. And I thought she just did it brilliantly. And she looked amazing.
Have her host everything.
Have her host everything. We got like so many looks, which is always fun for the girls.
Yeah, she had the glamour. She had everything. Like seriously,
like I felt like she was having fun, which typically everyone talks about this job, the hosting job is like the most thankless job. It's so dreadful. It's like you don't pass it up because it's a good opportunity, but nobody wants to do it. Like she was happy to be there.
And I feel like there's been a lot of discourse ever since Joan Rivers died. Like, who's the next Joan, right? And it felt like, you know, everybody sort of gave it to Kathy Griffin and then they took it back. And we've just sort of been like waiting. And honestly, after last night, like that was I think a performance Joan Rivers would have liked.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch some stuff. Again, I feel like as we talk about people, I'll remember jokes that she made because it was Paige.
It was brilliant. I hope this blows up her career like tenfold. She should be getting the same opportunities as like Kevin Hart and Chris Rock. Like she is fucking funny. She works hard and she writes her own jokes. Like you can tell she like workshopped them a million times. I can't remember a time where I've had nothing negative to say. Nothing.
Yeah. I actually, overall thoughts on the Golden Globes though, I watch the whole thing, which tells you everything you need to know. Usually I watch every award show because like that's what we do, and then I turn it off when it either offends me or seriously bores me and I'm like, this is a bad use of my time. I watched till the end. I watched them getting up out of their chairs. Not to say that I loved it so much. My only issue with the show is I felt like mostly like 90% of the awards went to the wrong people. Not that I saw any of the movies. I just want to say it was just vibes.
Just like based on vibes.
Just vibes and like knowing the actors and seeing some of the reviews. Like I think Amelia Perez won a lot of awards. Like the things that I've seen about that movie, not only the Spanish speaking debacle, which we discussed, which I thought would make it like take it out of the running of seriousness. The reviews are like, I've just seen people being like, no, the movie is so bad. So much so that I actually want to watch it just to make sure. But you know, my time is precious.
Same, but what I've also heard, and I would love like our Mexican tostadas to speak on this from my community, what I've heard is like the fact that they made a film about this particular story is so offensive to Mexican culture. Really? They say it's like, I don't know if this was an exaggeration, but I saw a tweet that was like, it's the equivalent of like making a sympathetic like backstory to the 9/11 like doers.
Wow.
Like so I don't even know who Amelia Perez is, and like I would love for the Mexican tostadas please sound off in the comments. Like, are you offended at the fact that this movie was even created?
And the fact that we're finally telling the story.
It's a French director with like no real ties to the Mexican culture, and like you know one of the characters doesn't even speak Spanish. Like beyond that, like the execution, the sheer concept of it, I believe, is quite controversial.
That is so funny. I didn't even know that. I keep getting like piecemeal information about this movie. Of course, the Spanish speaking controversy, which I really thought would take it out of contention. Like that kind of, that's like inauthenticity. We don't do that, you know? No. So I was shocked that it won so many things. And of course, I didn't see it and I've heard bad things. So I was like, oh, maybe not. But here, let's go through
Wait, before we dive into the winners, can we just quickly do red carpet?
Sure.
Now, I don't need to go through everyone's looks. Like everyone was actually well dressed with the exception of Kerry Washington. Like she actually like looked so ugly and I couldn't believe that she decided to wear that. Like, and it was Balenciaga. Like obviously when you wear, Nicole Kidman also wore Balenciaga, which was enormously disappointing. But let me say, like
she was undeniable. It was undeniable.
Two things can be true. It was such an unbelievably beautiful dress, and it looked amazing on her. So I could see how she struggled with that decision. Like, damn, do I go for like the good dress or the moral compass? Like, and I know she's a spokesperson for Balenciaga, so she has to wear. Same with Kerry Washington. But the fact that Kerry Washington like knew she was going to get shit and decided to wear something so ugly, like, and what for what, you know?
Yeah.
But I was watching E, and this is the first big award show where they gave Laverne Cox the boot. And I think the consumers and the watchers and the viewers have, you know, kind of requesting that for some time. They really tried to make it work, but I noticed like a big shift where Zuri Hall, who is this like OG entertainment journalist who's been with E for a really long time and doesn't necessarily always get these opportunities, she was given the prime spot. She was talking to most of the stars, and then Heather was on another, like I think on the longer red carpet with the microphones, and Kelty was at the front. So it was kind of like Zuri's moment, which I thought was great because we're always talking about like the lack of like entertainment journalists on the carpet. And I know it's important to like involve, you know, other people. And that's why we're always saying like Kelty is so great and Heather's so funny. So like it's really great balance. But the fact that they gave Zuri the main stage, I think was really well deserved. Like she's been at the network for so many years. I feel like she's always kind of like getting the boot. And I love that.
I saw a bit of red carpet, and every interview that I saw, like no awkward moments, like no butt clenching. I feel like the flow of conversation is like so hard in those moments, and like that's what makes someone really great. And I thought everyone that I saw did a really good job. And like it was just conversation, and the talent was having fun, and they felt comfortable, and the hosts like Heather and Zuri, like they just did a really good job. So much so, like I shouldn't have so many thoughts on the actual dialogue, you know?
Yeah, and Zuri is.
We should be like making fun of what the celebrity answers are. Let's get back to those times.
Zuri is so beautiful, but what I really noticed is like everyone who got on stage was like kind of dazzled by her. They're like,
Jamie Foxx.
Yes. Yeah. They were like, oh my God, you look beautiful. Like I don't know a time where like the talent has complimented the host so frequently. I feel like she probably got a date last night.
She better.
Well, I mean, she did date Travis, so a lot of people forget that.
I was going to mention it, but like, I didn't want it to like eclipse everything she did last night, you know?
Now we can go for the winners. Sorry.
Oh, but the fashion. Did you want to talk about the fashion on the red carpet or just the carpet itself?
Just the Balenciaga and then the carpet. Like, because I'm always talking about the entertainment journalists. Like, justice for people who study entertainment journalism. Like, good luck getting a job.
Yeah. So backwards to forwards, best motion picture, musical, or comedy. So in the Oscars, this is one category, best motion picture. At the Globes, it's two. We had best motion picture, musical, or comedy, and that went to Emilia Perez.
It's like really crazy, just given what I know about the film.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the other movies except for Wicked, and I don't think Wicked should have won for this. I love Wicked, and it's the only movie that I saw, but like, you know, I can acknowledge that like other movies could be the best in this category. Honora, Challengers, A Real Pain, and The Substance.
Also, have you been seeing like the drama with Honora?
I never heard of Honora until last night.
So that very beautiful girl who like is the star, she has done a bunch of interviews that there wasn't an intimacy coordinator on set. And it's just like, it's kind of weird. And she talks about it in a positive way. She's like, but everybody made me feel so. But like, why? Like, literally, why? Is it not a SAG production? Like, where the fuck is SAG?
I don't know. But also, then do like smaller budget productions like have to cut corners on stuff like that?
Bitch, I don't give a fuck. Like, get rid of craft services.
I'm imagining it's like an indie movie.
I don't think it is.
Get rid of craft services. Starve. Casting, like lighting.
I'm saying like, you could cut other corners. You could cut other corners.
Yeah. Next, best motion picture drama went to The Brutalist, which was the Adrian Brody movie, which from the awards show, two things emerged that I want to maybe watch that I added to my plate. The Brutalist and Shogun. I think I would start with Shogun. I think I would like that the best.
I love to see Adrian Brody like out and about. I feel like he doesn't really leave his house a lot, and seeing him with his lady love, Georgina Chapman.
Claudia, I will never get over that. I need more jokes about Adrian Brody at award shows so that I could get more eyes on Adrian and Georgina. And when he won, I was like, is he going to mention? And it's so crazy because like she's Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife, for those who don't know. But she's also the
creative director of Marquesa.
Like she's a very accomplished woman. She's so beautiful. And she went from Harvey.
And she's like an age appropriate, like get for him. It's literally a perfect match. I just wish she was Jewish. Like that's it, but I'll get over it.
She went from Harvey to Adrian. So she's like loving life.
No, and seriously, she deserves peace.
And not only did he say like, shout out to Georgina, like he gave her such a glowing...
They've been together for a while now.
They've been together 3 years now. And I really, really ship. So The Brutalist looks good because it's about some architect who emigrated from Hungary to the US and built his career. It's a 3.5-hour movie though, so you know Turdy's not seeing it.
One thing about Adrian Brody, like he is going to tell the story of our people. I love him.
No, I seriously love him so much. So
is now an appropriate time to tell the story about the time I was seated next to Adrian Brody at a dinner party and I had absolutely no idea who he was. Jackie looked so different and I got seated next to him and I was like, what do you do? He's like, I'm an artist. And I guess it's like what an actor would say. He said, I'm an artist. So I thought he like painted. I'm like, oh, like sculptures or painting? And he was like, both. And then he left.
That is so funny. It was
it's one of my biggest regrets.
Brody. I think he referenced it last night in his acceptance speech because he said like a few years ago, like I thought I was done. And there was that was a theme. And I love when this happens. Like Demi Moore won Best Actress and she's been a working actress for 40 years and she's never won an award like this. So like that reminded me of Jennifer Coolidge when like someone just gets their shine in their moment. And then for
Zoe Saldana, I'm like, she hadn't won.
I'm like, exactly. I'm like, if Adrian Brody felt like he couldn't act anymore, like who can?
No, it's so true. I loved Demi Moore's speech.
Me as well. And I won't watch her movie with Margaret Qualley, but it looks like interesting.
I actually think I might watch it. I found myself being really dazzled by Margaret Qualley last night. I know her obviously.
She was one of my best dressed.
Me too. And I saw a lot of like hate for her dress. I guess she like wears a lot of like boring Chanel looks a lot because she's a Chanel face.
Like, seriously, goals.
Yeah, like I thought she looked so gorgeous. Her hair and makeup was sick. I thought she was dazzling. And I was actually like, I think her interview with Zuri like left the biggest impact on me. I was like, oh my God, I love this girl. I could actually see her like hanging out with Taylor and being a swirly. Up until this point, I thought she was like kind of serious. I don't know. And her and Jack are like kind of granola.
Jack,
they just looked like, they just looked like kind of like people I wouldn't hang out with, you know?
Yeah.
But then I saw her personality.
She's got that swirlitude. She
has that swirlitude. Then you have to remember she's Andie MacDowell's daughter. Like, I know these things don't just happen.
I know, but it's just like you said about Paige. Like when you're Andie MacDowell's daughter and that you're that gorgeous and talented, like do you also have to have a buzzing personality? No,
but she's a really interesting example because she's obviously like a Nepo baby where, what are we calling Nepo babies who like so far eclipse their parents in stardom? Because I think currently Margaret Qualley is more famous than Andie MacDowell has ever been.
And I think that when we have the Nepo baby conversation and we talk about people who only got to where they got because of their parents and not for their talent, we also need to talk about this category of person, like even Gwyneth Paltrow.
Right. Yes. Similar to Margaret Qualley, I feel like is Maya Hawke. I think she gets like a lot of the Nepo baby combo. Ethan Hawke and Kyra Sedgwick's
Kyra
daughter.
Sedgwick is Kevin Bacon.
Literally same thing. Okay,
Uma
I forgot
Thurman?
Ethan Hawke's wife. So, yes, actually, yes. So she to me is like classic Nepo. You know, she's like in stuff. She's not like, you know, rocking, and especially she's not even close to her parents' level. But Margaret Qualley is really A-list, Oscar nominated, really kind of making moves.
Best motion picture animated went to Flow. Best cinematic and box office achievement went to Wicked, which is the award that it should win if it was going to win any award. And they added it last year, I think, for Barbie.
Yeah.
So we got to have our Wicked moment.
Yeah, Cynthia and Ariana both lost, and John Chu wasn't nominated for director. And it definitely felt like, because we have to think about how far the Golden Globes has come. Like the fact that we're all talking about it, and I think a lot of people watched it, when a few years ago, it actually was taken off air, and the Golden Globes Association was like on the verge of shutting down, and then people in Hollywood like lobbied to get it back. So I think that they're very conscious of like remaining, you know, upper tier, upper echelon, artsy, cinematic, and to give out any awards to a movie like Wicked that had such commercial success, I feel like they're afraid to do. And so, yes, they obviously won this category, but this category is meaningless, honestly. Like, it's...
And I actually, even though Wicked was really the only piece of work that I saw in the entire show, so you would think it should win everything, they didn't even need this. It's nice that the girls were nominated so that they could go to the show and Wicked could be included in these conversations, but it's like, I'm okay without Wicked or if Barbie hadn't had that moment. Like, you know, you made all the money. Enjoy that. These people have a statue.
I just feel like Golden Globes is like afraid to engage with Wicked because it's considered like lowbrow and commercial. So if there was an award show that they weren't going to get any awards, it was going to be this one. But I think like Ariana and Cynthia like definitely have a chance at winning other more prestigious. So? I do. Like, I don't think the Oscars give a fuck if somebody from a commercially successful film wins. Like,
why do you feel like the Golden Globes is more artistic than the Oscars?
It's not more artistic, but I feel like they're more afraid because they were like literally taken off air. Nobody was listening. And they were largely for many years like considered like losery because they did TV and film. And they are now like making a comeback. And so they're more protective of their brand, thus not wanting to engage. And that's why they had a stupid category made for Wicked. So they don't have to give the prestigious awards to the movies like Wicked.
By the way, I think the fact that it's TV and film is what makes it a really good award show now, because like, to us, it's the same thing. I don't know which of these is a movie, which of these is a show. And we get to cover more categories. We get to see more people. And the Oscars then kind of feels like half of this because TV is movies now. It's all the same.
I agree. And I love Nikki Glaser said that in a very funny way, just being like, the big movie stars are here, Colin Farrell and the big TV stars, Colin Farrell. It's actually amazing. And I think for so long, like TV was looked down upon. And that's largely why like the Golden Globes have had like kind of like a tacky sort of vibe to them.
But they're coming up with television.
When you think about what people are actually watching, when you're thinking about what's actually making money, like it's TV. Yeah. It is. And it's like these mini series. Like when I look at Anya Taylor-Joy, she's like a movie star, right? She started, Queen's Gambit. Like that was a TV show.
She is the Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. She'll never not be Beth Harmon. Like, I don't even know that name.
That will never not be like the single greatest piece of art that we've been given as consumers.
I tend to agree.
Yeah. I want to watch it again. Best motion picture, non-English language, Emilia Perez, France. So make it make sense.
Right.
Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture drama, Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. That's a big category, and I did not know her.
Me neither.
Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture drama, Our Boyfriend Adrian Brody, The Brutalist. The only reason why like I would have liked to see Timothée Chalamet win is to see if he would thank his lady love.
But someone needs to tell both Timothy and Club Chalamet that like that movie's winning no awards. I can't believe he was even nominated. I have heard not one thing, good or bad, which is even worse.
I can't believe the movie came out.
I know.
It's gotten like enough time has passed for it to be in the nominations, because I feel like we're still talking about them filming it. He's seen on the streets with a guitar case.
No, I didn't even know it came out. Like that's how nobody moved.
Yeah.
Wait, let me just say something, Jackie, because we're nearing on 90 minutes. Your cards are still running?
My cards are still running.
Just good.
Okay. Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Demi Moore, The Substance, which I thought was such a great moment.
I thought it was a great moment. I do want to see that movie, and I thought she made such a great speech about like, you know, being told her whole career. Because when you think about Demi, you obviously think like, yeah, blockbuster, and you think of it as a good way. But I didn't know it was like this thing that was sort of like beaten her, like she got beat down with by people in the industry being like, you'll never be serious. Like, go make another blockbuster popcorn movie. And when we talk about her resurgence, I really feel like we cannot talk about it without talking about
Landman?
Brad Goreski's impact.
What?
Yes. Oh, I feel like so much of
Where
Demi
does he
Moore's,
come in?
He's her stylist. And like, I think he's a new stylist. And I think that people really started paying attention to Demi like last year when she was like looking really good and hot. And I saw all these Brad Goreski like stylist videos. And I feel like so much of her comeback obviously has to do with the work that she did, but also like the pussy she's popping. And I think Brad Goreski only started working with her like it feels like a year ago. And it was like this huge impact, kind of how we all like were looking at Lindsay Lohan being like, damn girl, what are you doing? It felt like it had a Lindsay vibe to it.
She had a damn girl moment.
She had a glow up.
Yeah, I missed all that, but I'm happy to be here now. And she's also in Landman, so it just feels like she's pounding the pavement.
Landman's on my plate. Oh, and Billy Bob Thornton was there.
Billy Bob Thornton.
So was Angelina. Do you think that was weird?
That's really crazy.
I know.
That's really crazy. Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy, Sebastian Stan, A Different Man. Best performance by a female actor in a supporting role, motion picture, Zoe Saldana, Amelia Perez, which was exciting for her. It's the same Demi Moore vibe.
I love her. I don't know anything about the movie. I love Zoe. She was so emphatic in her speech. I was like, oh my God, she really wanted this.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, she was like really zealous. And it must mean a lot to her for a multitude of reasons. But Pop Off Queen, Center Stage is a hit.
And then best TV series, Shogun. So I think I'm watching Shogun.
Yeah, Ben will not like let me rest until we watch it.
Oh, okay, great. Maybe we could like do it together.
Yeah.
Best TV series, musical, or comedy, Hacks. Always a good choice.
Love to see Jean Smart and Hacks like constantly getting their flowers. Like it's just a good, safe choice.
By the way, best TV limited series, Baby Reindeer, which I need to know your thoughts.
He won, she won, and she won and the show won.
Yes.
I have to say, I actually agreed that she should have won. She was excellent. Even though I didn't like the show, I felt it was like really dark. Not necessarily that it's a bad show, but it was not the right show for me.
Right.
I thought she was an excellent actress, and it was like her first big break, and I'm happy she won. He won, and then he gave this like really weird speech about stories that dark never get made, and we need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I just feel like that's literally not true. Like
no, we are
everything
so
that gets made is dark.
Everything that we're watching is making us uncomfortable. Like, please bring back just like regular bright shows. And Liz Woods was posting about this too, and that's always what I say. Everything that I watch like is just like depressing and dark, and that's not how I want to feel. The thing that isn't, though, is reality TV. And I think that's why when I have a chance to watch TV, I watch a lot of reality TV. It's just like fun. Can we bring back fun? And I think that's why people love movies like Wicked and Barbie movie, where it's just like bright and fun. And like not everything has to be dark all the time. These things are supposed to be an escape.
1,000%. Now, having said that, like the actual story of Baby Reindeer is so crazy. And the fact that it happened to this guy. And it was like this really fucking like life-altering event, and he decided to like turn it into art. Like that's a beautiful story, and I'm happy for him.
I don't know what the event is. He was stalked?
He had a crazy stalker, and when they were like sharing fun facts last night when people would win.
That was the sideline reporters was a crazy touch, and the fun facts.
But the fun facts were not fun. However, one of the fun facts I did find interesting was that like when he was stalked, because emails were like a huge part of the show and like his stalking, he was sent over the however long period of time, 41,000 emails by this crazy lady who is now suing Netflix, by the way, for like, you know, telling her story in a way that she didn't approve.
Okay.
The stalker, the real stalker.
Let the courts duke it out. Mm-hmm. More? You want more?
Not really.
Okay, like you get the gist. It was fine.
You either watched it or you didn't. Ariana and Cynthia lost. Like that was for me like big.
Yeah, it kicked off award season, so we'll have like more of this. And it was totally fine, which is like, that's the headline. It was totally fine.
I just want to say, every time I watch the Golden Globes, I'm really shocked that Steve Martin and Martin Short get nominated every year and they never win. And having just recently watched.
That's because how could you pick one? Who would you pick?
Martin Short. He is so fucking funny. Having just recently watched a new season, and I don't think all the seasons have been amazing. I think the first was good. I think the first was great. The second was good. The third was bad. The fourth was great. When will they win? And seriously, Martin Short deserves it. Give it to Marty.
They'll probably win in their last season. That's what they like to do.
Yeah, on their way out.
Yeah. Are you ready for our next story? Totally switching gears.
Yes.
Because love is in the air, perchance. Molly-Mae and Tommy Fury were spotted kissing on New Year's Eve 5 months after they split. So right now is actually like high time for Molly-Mae fans. I'm wearing maybe today. That's just a complete coincidence.
It's a fun fact about you.
Her docuseries is coming out in 2 short weeks. It's all about maybe the Tommy split, the Molly of it all, but now they're spotted kissing on New Year's Eve. Like, what does this mean? Was what he did forgivable? Why were we all under the assumption it wasn't?
Because it's not.
Like, but we don't even know what he did.
Yeah, we do. Because just based on that freaky girl.
That girl. Did you see
and that's just one person's story.
By the way, I think I sent you a video of that girl talking about her dirty underwear.
Yeah, and her dad.
Claudia.
Jackie, the girl's fucking disgusting.
Claudia.
So the fact that Tommy was willing to literally throw his entire beautiful life away, not that, he should do it for anyone, but this girl in particular.
I just want to say, I am also like not believing that girl at face value.
You're holding space for her being a liar?
She looks like a big fat liar. Like one of the most morally bankrupt people I've ever witnessed on my phone.
But we do know that he did cheat.
Yeah. I don't think he didn't cheat. But anyway, so we don't know exactly what happened. She literally dropped him in a day. It was that bad. And now she is kissing him on New Year's Eve. Now, is it just like a friendly, nostalgic kiss? What brought them to the same party?
Right. I'm holding space for trusting my fave, right? I know Molly is going to make the best decision for her and her family, but I'm really struggling because at the end of the day, I don't believe that infidelity is the end all be all for every relationship. I think people really can change and people can work through it, and it's really, really hard. Having said that, and this is based on information, yes, from that girl. So I may be working with false information, but what she had said was that she was the third or fourth girl Tommy had sex with that night. And yeah. So
here's the thing.
Then Tommy would be suing her. He can't just say shit.
I guess. I don't believe that girl at face value. Not at all. However,
do you think everything she's saying is a lie?
But like what? Maybe there's a percentage of truth. But what if, say this, what if Tommy has a drinking problem? Not to slander him, but don't worry, we'll work through it. What if Tommy has a really bad drinking problem and he gets drunk and he sleeps with 4 or 5 girls in one night? And now in the last 5 months, like he has seriously gone to rehab, gotten sober, and like when he doesn't drink, that doesn't happen. Could you take him back? Well, not you, but like could Molly? If he's not going to drink again, it would not happen again. Say.
No, I think that like that is even harder for her to deal with a newborn. Or not a newborn.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right.
Let me just
I don't think so. Also, I don't know that he's an alcoholic because when you're in like an
I'm not saying. I'm just.
I know, but I'm saying
I'm just presenting a theory that would show you how there could be a path forward. Just to say that there would be paths, not that that's the one.
I'm torn between like wanting a family to come together and like reunite, while also like men who behave like this like absolutely need to be punished. Harsher punishment for parole violators,
Yeah. I really do trust my fave on this. I trust Molly.
I know.
But
also sometimes you need to learn a lesson like 3 or 4 times before it sticks. That happens a lot with people who, get back together with sort of serial cheaters. Now, we don't know if he's a serial cheater or it was something that happened one time, very Steve Brady-esque.
Do you think Miranda should have taken back Steve?
Yes. But I think she was totally valid in literally taking a whole ass year and getting a new apartment. Like, he needed to learn his lesson. Like, people need to be taught.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to wait for the docuseries because I do imagine she will tell us what happened in the docuseries. Otherwise, like, why film a docuseries at this moment in time,
Yeah.
I know she's also doing it for her clothing brand, but, like, I feel like that would be the right, safe form for her to share. Paint a vague, abstract picture. I don't need to know the details. I mean, I would like to, but.
This is tough. I'm going to... We're always saying to trust your faves, and like this is a practical application of policy. And
I'm
struggling.
I'm trusting my fave, and when I do that, this makes me happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, because I'm having a hard time seeing him as anything other than like slimy and gross these days. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. But Molly wouldn't kiss someone slimy and gross.
You love who you love. Love is blind.
Love who you love.
And don't ever be.
So happy
Don't
New Year.
waste the time, it comes so fast.
I feel like for Tommy and Molly, and I don't feel this way about Paige and Craig, surprisingly, when I look inward. I feel like for Tommy and Molly, like there's no one else for either of them.
It'll never be over. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't see Molly with the next guy. Like it's her and Tommy. And I don't see Tommy with the next girl. But I don't know. Maybe it's not even them.
Right.
In the picture.
Right,
even though it looks like them. She wore her hair half up, half down. But maybe she has a type. Maybe she has a type. Because
also right before this video was released, there was a lot of rumors that they were spotted at a mall together holding hands. There was no proof. So we were like waiting. And then this. So it was kind of, it is.
Great. So let's see. Let us see. Great. July, what month is it? January 17th, the doc drops, Amazon Prime. See you there.
And it's soon.
That should be nominated for a Globe.
And that's how Molly sees it.
And then our fifth and final story is such exciting news.
Yes, from the business world.
From the business world, from the fashion world, Kristin Juszcyzk has partnered with Emma Grede to launch her brand Off Season, which is a sports apparel brand born from Kristin's viral DIY looks. And what's, of course, getting Kristin's brand finally to market is so exciting. But the fact that she's partnering with Emma, who is also the partner on Skims and Good American and the Kardashians' go-to fashion swirly, like just bodes so well for the health of the company.
If you watch Shark Tank, she's like a very popular guest shark. She is like, she's a billionaire, I believe.
Yeah, she also does Safely.
She's like the go-to Kardashian business girly, but before that she had like an even more impressive resume. That's how she got.
But now it's like everything she touches turns to gold.
We all knew that Kristin Juszcyzk, because she got her NFL license, was working on some sort of like line, like consumer focused line. And I figured she would like work with someone. I didn't know if it was going to be like a brand she partnered with, like a Kmart line. That would have been cool. If you would have asked me what's like the coolest, best person she could have partnered with, I wouldn't have even, I couldn't have even come up with this idea because it's so good and I'm so dumb. But when I heard it, I was like, oh, parfait.
Like,
yes.
Better than we could have imagined. Yep. I think like we all want the world for Kristin Juszcyzk, not only because she's a gorgeous, wonderful, pargy girl, but because she's so talented. Like we want those clothes, but she can only do so much with her sewing machine. So like
it's so
getting them to market is important, but also in a way, like building a fashion brand, as we said, like it's so it's hard and it's expensive and warehouses and distribution and then you add all these teams too. Like having to make all this custom apparel, like by team, by size, but it's just a lot. So that she's partnered with the right person who makes these things happen. Like, beautiful.
It's in partnership with Emma Grede, but also with Fanatics, which is like the official sports apparel. Like,
and that's the July 4th guy.
Can't wait to see Kristin Juszcyzk at the July 4th party.
Can't wait to see Kristin Juszcyzk.
She could not have gotten in bed with better people. The shit is so cute. Mine's on the way. I actually got an email about like sizing and address. I wonder which one they're going to give me. They're probably going to give me 49ers.
Oh, you got PR? I'm like, you ordered it?
No, I got PR, bitch. Yeah, that's right. Well, it hasn't showed up yet.
She got PR.
I feel like they're going to give me Kyle, number 44. I feel like a vest or maybe a jacket because I live in New York. Whatever. I'm so excited. The shit is so cute. It's pricey, but it's I think maybe the first brand when it comes to like NFL licensing and like sportswear that's a little bit more high fashion. It's not just like merch.
Yeah, but also the amount that men pay for their faves jersey is a lot. Those jerseys are expensive. And like for women, you buy a t-shirt for a game. You don't wear the same t-shirt every game. But now this is something that you could wear to every single game in the season.
Because it's outerwear.
The off season.
Yeah, the name is off season, which is really cute. And I love the way they're rolling it out. I don't know if you saw at the 49ers game last night. Her husband was wearing a vest, and then George Kittle, who's like the other tight end on his team, who's like huge, was also wearing a vest, like with their custom. So they're jerseys too. So the numbers are on the front and the last names are on the back. It was so like I'm just loving the rollout.
Do you know the price point?
Yeah, I think it's like $300. Which, by the way, for like a puffer jacket that's going to keep you warm, like an outdoor jacket. I don't know how warm it like what the insulation is like, but that's like kind of a good price for a real puffer jacket.
So Turdy, you don't know the insulation?
No, but I'll let you know when I get my PR.
I'm so excited. That's so great. But also, this is making me realize that there is one other piece of news that we have to talk about on this episode, not to make it 2 hours, but like people are waiting. Meghan's trailer dropped.
Oh my God,
her show,
yes.
With Love, Meghan. We talked about the trailer a little bit on Patreon, but we owe you guys a little bit of our initial thoughts because her show is premiering on Netflix any day now.
The name is With Love, Meghan, which I actually
With
don't
Love,
like. That's
comma Meghan.
This is, that's the only part of this I don't like. I don't like the comma, and you guys know I love comma usage.
It should be like With Love, no comma Meghan?
No, it shouldn't be the title.
Of course.
Because if your title requires...
Cooking with the Duchess.
Yeah, like Duchess Oven or something.
The Duchess. I love that. The Duchess Kitchen. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, it's the only thing I don't like.
It's so disingenuous. Is that a word? The name.
Disingenuous.
The name With Love. Like, stop it.
No, and if you need like a pause in your title, it's just not going to work because the way people talk, it's like Shogun. You know, we're just saying.
I watched Disingenuous.
I watched With Love.
I watched
Meghan.
With Love Meghan last night.
I just don't like it. So that's my only critique. But let me tell you, I gasped when the trailer dropped. I feel like this is exactly what you and I have been requesting from her. And of all the business projects she's done upon Megxit, so many of them have felt like really random and not Pargy. And this is Pargy. She's a homemaker. She like lives on a farm with her chicken. She's feeding her children. She hosts a lot. She's rich and beautiful. And this is what I want to see. Like, thank you. I don't need to see you like talking to Gloria Steinem. Like, this is what I want.
Well, I think she's like cooking with Gloria Steinem, which I've said, like, I hate that shit. Like, I want to see you sat in your kitchen talking to me, not Mindy Kaling, not your friends who I don't know, not you teaching someone else. I want you teaching me. When I first saw the trailer, like, this is the exact type of content we've wanted from her, but also wanted in general. Like, we want more like Pargy-licious shows,
Joanna
cooking
Gaines
shows, lifestyle, bring us into your home, make it warm, comfort creators, as we say.
Yes.
And so I'm so glad that that's what she's doing. However, as I said on the Patreon, like what the show needs, and we'll have to watch episodes to find out, is substance. Like it needs like heart. We need to be hearing from her. Like I want real words. I don't want word salad. I want salad, but I want real words being spoken. Like I really feel like we need to like, she needs to open up to us, the viewers, because that's how like you endear yourself and how you become someone's comfort. So I feel like the potential here is so endless and for such beauty, and I'm really excited to watch it. However, she needs to give us like more than she's ever given us. More than archetypes, not scripted, not phony.
No phoning it in.
Canned moments that you're pretending are candid, but they're canned. Like I want to be let in.
I completely agree. I do agree with your assessment that like cooking shows with guests as a format is really not something I'm particularly interested in. And so I was a little disappointed to see like the random guests. Obviously I love Mindy Kaling, so I'm not talking about that, but it just felt like, who can we call to get? And it's like, why don't you just give us an episode just you? You know, you are enough, Meghan.
Why don't you give us a season just you? And then eventually you run out of things to make. You bring a guest, fine. But I want to get to know you. I don't want to see your friendship with Mindy Kaling. Like I genuinely don't give a shit.
The backlash has been swift, and I have heard like some real like out of control like critiques. Like I feel like what we're criticizing is just like format wise, like it's so fair,
and because we have a very high bar for it.
But like the criticisms have been like, I have seen so many people being like, are you kidding, Meghan Markle? Like there's people that are dying. People can't pay their bills. Like the country's in shambles. Like, well, yes, all of that is true. Why is that Meghan Markle's problem?
Well,
like the Golden Globes were on last night. Like who gives a fuck?
I just want to say I saw some criticisms like that and it did make me stop and think because like you have to remember they exited 5 years ago. They left a life of service and duty and like giving back to their community. And they were acting like they could do more outside of the family. And like, this isn't helping people and solving world hunger, which you don't need to do as a human being. I don't give a fuck. But like, that's what they have like presented themselves as. So now
this is her first like entertainment focused project.
So like, yeah, we're calling it. Like you guys aren't doing philanthropy.
Great.
It's not
great.
Like,
I never needed them to come here. They're not the president.
We didn't need that, but they've always billed themselves as that. So like to go from that to now just like straight entertainment, you know, we're not even pretending.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
We're going to waste food instead of giving it.
Let me ask you a question because I feel like a really fair comparison a lot of people make in terms of their level of celebrity is very similar to the Obamas, right? Like formerly in service, friends with lots of famous people. If Michelle Obama had a cooking show, like, do you think it would be like distasteful?
No, because they did their service. No, it's not a good comparison in this regard because they get that comparison because they were going on to do a life of service. They just got married. They barely did anything while they were in the UK. And then they left to say we could do more and we could be more impactful and we're constrained, and instead they're making cooking shows. Whereas like the Obamas like did their time. They gave their service to the country. And now if you want to go do a cooking show, do whatever the fuck you want. It's not the same. It's just like, then you should have been real 5 years ago when you left, that like, we are here to go to Hollywood, which we all knew. And I think that's why people were like annoyed with them for being so phony. Like, no, we're not. But now like, yeah, you are. And the thing is like, that's what we wanted her back in Hollywood. She was our star.
It's true. It's so true. Oh, and then a lot of the commentary saying like how inauthentic this is. And I actually think a lot of people forget that like Meghan actually had it wasn't so popular in the States, but when she was living in Vancouver, she was like a really popular influencer there with the TIG. It was like a blog that was like very lifestyle focused, lots of like gardening, cooking, very similar. She should have called this the TIG, actually. That would have been a good name.
That would have been an amazing name and really full circle. And her saying like, yeah, I want to go back to being the person that I was before all of that. It didn't work out, and Harry wasn't happy either, and he's not been happy in that role in a long time. So like, we're going to do my life now. And I feel like that honesty would have gone a long way. Then, would be appreciated now, and that's where it gets to be like inauthentic. But calling the show inauthentic, you can't say until you've watched it. Like, can this woman cook? That's all I care.
No, but she also didn't like pick up one day and decide to like get into lifestyle content. Like she actually has a
passion for lifestyle content.
Yeah, and so that is really working on her side. And the TIG would have been such a good name. The TIG with Meghan.
The TIG, I really do love it. I think it like seriously launches any day.
She's also going for like the sort of Madonna-like thing where her Instagram that she launched is at Meghan. Her show, like she wanted her name in the title, just Meghan. So I think she's going for like kind of this one name wonder type of thing, which I kind of like. There isn't like a Meghan. Who do you think is the most famous Meghan? Her, right? Is she in competition with anyone?
Well, now that you say it, like Meghan Maroney, you know?
Okay, so they're not on the same level. So thank you.
No, like now that you keep saying Meghan, but honestly, I don't know. Let's see if it sticks. Maybe it's a good PR move, but I feel like there were other names she could, like Sussex is strong and you're not competing. Like Sussex Kitchen.
I kind of like that.
You know, like they actually have a lot of names between them because they have Prince, Harry, Royal Highness, Duke, Duchess, Sussex, Windsor, Mountbatten, Archetype, Arc. You know, they've got a lot of names in their world. So there was a lot to work with, and instead we got with Love, Meghan, and American Riviera Orchard.
Because we've been podcasting for an eternity.
I'm about to pee in my pants.
Oh, I'm just like quickly checking page 6 to make sure like nothing broke.
Right.
Oh, the only thing we need to talk about was Zendaya wearing an engagement ring on the red carpet, which was Parchy, and she also accidentally lifted her arm and showed us that she got a tattoo, which is a little T.
Oh, cute. It's so funny. She wears an engagement ring on the red carpet, and like for some reason it's still like, well, are they engaged? And it's like, yeah.
Well, because celebrities wear like big diamond cocktail rings.
Maybe it was the only ring that fit her finger.
But no, there's pictures of her like showing the ring to people so she's totally engaged. I love them. I love that they protect their privacy. I hope she never announces it. Like, bitch, it's literally none of our business.
Yeah. But same doesn't go for Kylie and Timothy. Like, give us more. It's time. It's been 2 years.
She looked insane.
She is insane. When she was just like smiling next to him, laughing at the jokes of Nikki Glaser, like, oh my God, I need Kylie Cam at these awards.
Agreed. Okay, we did it. 2 hours, Nilafi. That is our show.
Oh my God, I started the new year by drinking so much water, so I've already drank one whole one of these.
Good for you.
Claudia, I'm going to pee my pants. We can't do long episodes like this if I want to be hydrated.
Well, by the way, you can go. I'm wrapping up. Go. Thank you so much for listening to the Toast and Melania Morning Show, where we deliver the fast 5 stories you need to know every Monday through Friday on YouTube. So if you're watching us on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. We're also available as podcasts and where podcasts can be found. So that's Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Public Video, iHeartRadio, CastBox, all the places where they listen to podcasts. Find us to Toast, leave a 5-star review about how beautiful, about how stunning, and about how wickedly talented we are.
Love ya. Bye.